Affie Fletcher, Sherian Fraser, Chanel Henry, Shabika Gajnabi. We move to Kashona Knight. Then we have Shedi Nation, Karishma Ramnarak, Shakira Selman, and Rashada Williams. We also have one change today. Stacey and King for New Zealand.
West Indies ladies and, well, of course, New Zealand. Well, they've got one change. They've brought in Jessica for Hannah Rowe, who we might have mentioned or remember scored that 26 in a losing effort in that first T20. But again, they'll depend on that healthy diet of spin with Amelia Kerr, Easy Gaze, and Eden Carson, and Jessica, of course, coming into this match with her medium pace.
Yeah, looking to put some pressure on. Stacey, let's look at the West Indies. And something which I observe, and I feel that they have to begin to assess the conditions, and you have to sort of come up with a game plan. I'm wondering, what's the West Indies game plan? What are they looking for? They're looking to score 140, 130. We've seen that in this series so far, that the small scores, and when I say small scores, you're talking about 115. That was a pressure game. We're talking about yesterday, 107. That was also a pressure game. So it's now being shown that if the West Indies can get anywhere up to 140, that they can be able to press New Zealand in a very encounter. One of the things which I feel that they have to seriously work on is being able to pick the gaps in the middle overs, especially off of the New Zealand spinners who have been able to tie them up so far.
Yeah, I think it's a good point, and from all the games that have been played, even if you look at those 50-over matches, they haven't gone on to score competitive scores. Now, their bowling has been their strength. You've seen Chanel Henry, Karishma Ramharak, a number of players have stood up and taken wickets in very interesting times for West Indies, but the issue will be not scoring sufficient runs to give those bowlers an opportunity to defend the total.
All right, and one of the things which I also want to feel that as we look on the screen here, we see Chanel Henry with 3 wickets, Hayley Jensen with 3, Amelia Kerr with 3, Karishma Ramnarak and Affie Fletcher for the West Indies with 2. The main thrust for me is you've got all these new ball bowlers. So you have Sherian Fraser, you've got Shakira Selman, you have Chanel Henry, you still also have Alea Allen. My purpose would be, what's the plan? Are we going to be able to go hard at New Zealand by trying to see if we can get Divine and also Susie Bates, which they would have done in the 50-over in the power play? Need a bowler who's going to be able to come consistently, pick up wickets, and in the middle overs, as you rightly said, there's a trump card bowler who can be able to try and win the game for you.
Well, they've done that so far in terms of picking up wickets in the power play, West Indies, but I think not winning any toss so far as well doesn't exactly help Hayley Matthews, because she's lost all 3 tosses. New Zealand have won those 3 tosses and opted to have a bowl first because they know their bowling attack is their strength, and they back themselves to chase whatever target is put on. So from a West Indies perspective, yes, those new ball bowlers, it's still a lot of pressure on them to get wickets. I think West Indies, they've really shown that not having Anisa Mohammed, Kaisia Knight,
Taylor?
Well, Stephanie Taylor, who wasn't selected for this 3rd match when they presented those names, Shemaine Campbell, just those, and of course Deandra Dutton. So just those names alone, those are 4 key players that at any day can score runs or go over the top. And I think it's something that the players, especially those middle players, once they're cranked for space, they need to find a way to release that pressure.
Now, I know you talked about the West Indies trying to find their way and find their combination with all of the names that have been mentioned in terms of the batting order. We saw 2 different changes. Alea Allen getting a promotion to open in the 2nd game. We don't know what the option is going to be in this game, but it looks as if Hayley Matthews has put her hand up. Now, in putting her hand up, and this is just my own logic, I feel that she's capable of batting all 20 overs. I don't know how you feel about that scenario based on the team being short of batters.
It's something she'll have to work out, Hayley Matthews, because the longer that she stays there, just that presence of being out there, that alone will bring fear to any bowler's mind. So she'll have to make up her mind to at least, if not bat all 20, she needs to bat at least 10 of those overs.
So we see the New Zealand team coming out onto the field, and we see the West Indies captain Hayley Matthews, and they're continuing with the same ploy of the Allen coming out to open for the West Indies team. And as you know, all lives matter. The West Indies would have started this Black Lives Matter movement all around the world with the kneeling of the knee, and this would have started way back like in 2020, 2019, 2020 on the tour to England. It's something which has been demonstrated all around the world by some teams, but New Zealand have been very cooperative so far in the Caribbean, and a lot of the teams who have come to the Caribbean have really respected in a very positive way. We are seconds away from the start of the game. Our umpires today, on-field umpires today, Carl Tuckett and Danish Ramdani. Shannon Crawford is the third and fourth umpire, and then to match it up all, we'll have Michael Ragonat, who is the match referee. The players now, including the umpires, officials, and even the spectators, we here in the booth also, we get a little chance not only to take a knee, but to have a pump fist. And just to let you know, the countdown is on for the start of game number 3. And it is a go here, Stacey and King.
Yeah, no surprise that New Zealand will open with spin once again. Fran Jonas. And she has the new ball from the media center end. I think they've been really impressive, the New Zealand spinners. Pretty young and inexperienced, but what they've done is just maintain wicket-to-wicket line. They've forced West Indies batters to make errors. They've nagged on a good line and length and forced mistakes.
So Courtney Walsh trying to rebuild a West Indies women's team without a number of stars. No Dottin, injured Taylor out. No Brittany Cooper, number of players. And we have a slight hold up here in play. Umpires maybe just making sure they correspond with their clocks. And Mr. Dinesh Ramdani will have the first delivery with the West Indies captain starting up first up. No slip. Stacey and King.
Yeah, no surprise, because in the second T20 they opted to use that extra fielder in the cover region.
First up delivery is bang on target. So you got a backward point, gully backward point cover, short extra cover, mid on, short mid wicket, short fine leg, and they have two fielders out. Long off and a mid wicket. Here is Matthews pulling this one away down to the vacant square leg boundary, deep backward square for 4. Short delivery, stood up, and it was put away nicely by the West Indies captain Hayley Matthews for the first boundary of this innings.
Yeah, good shot from Hayley Matthews. Just got back and across and been able to pull that into the vacant leg side region.
So Jonas, you don't normally get a boundary off Frank Jonas. Had to be a rank short delivery. She's bang on target again. Nice flighted delivery. I like her guile. And she's very crafty about it. You can see the variations and the lengths that she bowls. There's always a plan by Frank Jonas. She starts from the Circuitly Ambrose end.
Ooh, that one swung in almost like a Yorker length delivery.
And Hayley Matthews guilty of not putting that one away. Almost yorked her in the process. Here is a flatter, faster delivery appeal for a leg before, but that was going down because of the arm from Jonas. 4 without loss, all 4. A boundary to Hayley Matthews, the West Indies captain. And the West Indies off and running. Jonas, the delivery being turned into the mid-wicket area And easy single, can't stop it. So the end of over number 1. And West Indies are 5 without loss, all 5 to Matthews.
Yeah, good running for that final ball of the over. I think that's what they need to do a bit more of, put pressure on the New Zealand bowlers and fielders to just keep forcing those errors.
Five without loss, all 5 to the West Indies captain Haley Matthews. And Jensen will start from the Sir Andy Roberts end. She's got a towel, heat. This time New Zealand started with a slip for her. The captain Divine is at slip. So there's a Cully backward point, cover mid-on, mid-off, short mid-wicket. Matthews is back and looking to steer this down past the backward point area. Can't score. Deep backward square and a third man. You like this field, Stacey and King?
Yeah, Johnson continuing where she left off in that second T20, just nagging on that offside. Very close to that line that the umpires use as a guide.
Here is Matthews flashing wide down to the boundary for 4. It's gone past the captain Divine. More or less a second slip area was wide of her, and because the third man was so wide, she couldn't even stop it either. Eden Carson and sped away for 4. A boundary to Haley Matthews, who goes up to 9. West Indies 9 without loss.
Yeah, good on Haley, but again, Jensen getting exactly what she wants Haley to do, to play at that ball on that offside.
She's driving through cover for 4. That's a beautiful shot. Square. That's a lovely shot. Half volley. And the half volley's got to be put away, and the West Indies captain on the march here. Score goes up to 13 without loss. 3 boundaries. 3 lovely boundaries so far. And the fans would be enjoying those boundaries, especially when it comes to a T20. So, more changes made. A slip comes out, and they've packed the New Zealand wall on the offside. And they're saying to Haley Matthews, if you want to go to this wall, go ahead.
I like the stance that Haley Matthews has taken. She's batting just on top of her batting crease, just to give herself a chance to play anything that is turning away.
Here was a short delivery, and just punch to the left of easy, getting a single. Laura down. She was diving away at the backward point area. There's a little hesitation, but in the end, they got a comfortable single. Now takes Matthews up to 14, and it brings Alea Lane. First time she's facing a delivery for the day. She's back to and just steering this down to third man. And Carson comes off the boundary and just lobs a return into easy gaze. So West Indies going about their approach a lot different. 15 without loss. Allen is 1. Matthews on 14 comes back into strike. Here is Matthews opening the face of the bat to a wide delivery and staying it down once again down to the third man area. Carson for a single. 11 runs off Jensen's first over. And at the end of over number 2, West Indies are 16 without loss. Matthews is 15. Aline is 1.
Yeah, this has been a really good start for West Indies. What I like about it is the fact that they've forced changes, so they've forced the slip out of that region. Good striking from Haley Matthews, taking control. She's on 15 off 11, so she looks set.
Another change made here by New Zealand. Jessica, who's playing her first game of this series, comes into the attack. Again, no slip for Kerr. Pitched up lovely on drive. The mid-arm very, very, very close. And Matthews is going to have to be very careful. The objective here would be to try and play the ball as straight as possible down the ground. It's a good balance by Haley Matthews. Good cricket all around. Jessica to Matthew. Pitch between wicket and wicket. Just trying to get a little fancy. But I hit her a little bit high. She's going to have to be careful not to get turned around. Want to stay as side on as possible to the delivery. And there's a little cat and mouse game here, Stacey and King, because they opened up the leg side. They've got a deep backward square mid wicket and a short fine leg.
Yeah, good quick single, good call, good communication.
Change has been rung here. Allen taking her guard. It's more or less a balanced field, a 5-4 field. 5 on the off, 4 on the on. Mid on, mid wicket, deep backward square, and the mid wicket for Allen, as Jessica will be looking to bowl most likely as wide as possible. She's bowled! She played right across the line of the delivery and lost everything. West Indies losing their first wicket. Allen goes back for 1.
Yeah, that change of bringing Jessica in for this match, reaping rewards for New Zealand. She's bowled some balls before to Haley Matthews that swung in to the stumps. And this time around, Aliyah Allen playing all over this one. Well, she unfortunately goes for 1. West Indies 17 for 1. Over number 2.4.
Yeah, so it's not Allen's day today, but out comes Kashana Knight, who would have scored 42 in the last game. Haley Matthews walks down to meet her. So the left and right combination, an option here for West Indies, which could work for them. New Zealand picking up a very early wicket here in the power play. And Divine starting with a slip very early. Stacey and King for Kashana Knight.
And Kashona Knight, well, she would have scored 42 in that second T20. She definitely think that she missed out, but did apply herself really well in that innings. But I like this. I like the left-right combination just to force a change in feel as well.
Here is Knight steering this down to the backward point area. Can't score, remains on naught. 3 overs bowled. West Indies 17 for 1. In this over, Kerr picked up her first wicket. The wicket of Allen was bowled for 1, leaving Matthews on 16. Knight has faced 2 deliveries so far.
Haley Jensen will continue.
Here is Matthews just working this one down into the vacant fine leg area. And she gets 2 runs quite easily. And in the process, Maddie Green had a lot of running to do from deep backward square. Just roll the wrist over at delivery from Divine. Sophie Divine. Always thinking about something, Stacey and King Divine. She's a competitor. And she's maybe trying to just grasp the opportunity. She wants to maybe prize out the West Indies captain, Matthews, who's on 18. And she knows that the West Indies batting team has not come to the party as yet. Here was a good delivery. That had a little bounce, some extra pace on it. And Matthews came across. It was a good leave.
Yeah, this should just be more or less a warm-up for them because they play against each other in the WBBL season in Australia. Hayley Matthews, well, she's going to be featuring for Melbourne Renegades, and Sophie Divine, well, she's going to be for Perth Scorchers.
Yeah, with Matthews back and steering this pass backward point. Thinking about a second run here. A little bit risky. There's an appeal for a run out, but I think she got in quite easily. Throw could have been a little bit more alert. And the boundaries being so massive here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, it's always going to be a challenge. Down the onside, Divine. Umpire Carl took its signals wide.
I don't think that's the line that she wants to, or she should be trying to bowl, because she has just one fielder in that leg side region, almost like a deep backward square. So anything, once Hayley Matthews gets bat on it, it's going to be runs.
Divine bowling to more or less a 6-3 field, driven up to the cover area, misfield, but in the end she get a quite comfortable single.
I just wonder if it was in the air for some time. Yeah, it was played uppish. Well done by Amelia Kerr.
Knight, the left-hander, will face Divine. And almost playing around that delivery, straight on a stump. End of over number 4. Knight remains on naught. 6 runs off Divine's first over. And the score is on 23 for 1, Matthews 21. And they've lost the wicket of Allen for 1.
A few conversations between Matthews and Kai Shoda Knight.
So Divine starting first with Frank Jonas for an over, and then consolidating and bringing in Jessica was the wicket taker. Started with Jensen, then she used herself.
And I think it's all about tactics from New Zealand's perspective, because which means that she now has more options for spinning those middle overs. So using her pacers in the first power play.
Two fielders out in the deep backward square and the mid wicket. Bang on target is Jessica again. Hayley Matthews looking for a single that certainly was not on. Had to scurry back, pull out the dive. How many times, Stacey, you diving around to get back in? .24 for 1. Short and pulled away, but there's protection there, right out to the mid wicket. And so New Zealand are bowling to their game plans, as you heard from Stacey and King. They've got their strategy worked out.
Yeah, pace has been the most expensive throughout this series and the ODI series for New Zealand. So I personally think it's a good tactic for them to use pace at this point where batters are still trying to work themselves in. Force them in that lower part of the game to go against their spinners, who has been exceptional.
Here is a on drive up to the captain Divine, straight away on the run. It was on drive and on the move there. Kashana Knight getting a single. Divine picking it up and having a shy at the striker's end. Missed completely.
Yeah, and a good decision as well, because they know to see the back of Hayley Matthews would be rewards for them.
Strategy so far by New Zealand has been to keep the pressure on the West Indies. Here is Matthews just turning this into the onside, thinking about two, but they've got to get back into their crease very quickly, and got two expected legal deliveries in this over. Score in the meantime goes up to 27, and Hayley Matthews goes up to 23. Knight is one. Kerr into her second over. Here's Knight driving pleasantly.
Yeah, she takes a while to get in Kaishona Knight, and again, more reason for this pace lineup to be used at this point.
And the good tactic about it is that Isa Gaze has come up to the stumps to deny Kashana Knight of any major movement. She's back and flashing that, can't beat the fielder at point. Over comes to an end. 27 at the end of over number 5. Matthews is 23, Knight is 1. We'll have a double change in the R&S combination. It will be Seth Burton.
Thank you very much, Vernon Springer and Stacey and King, for that introduction. Good morning, Seth. How are you?
Well, it's afternoon because we had an
Sorry, good afternoon. My apologies. My apologies.
That's okay. It is understood.
Yeah,
We're
I'm here since morning, so that's it. You.
Yes, so an afternoon start here at the Saviv. Quite good to see the West Indies captain in Hayley Matthews really stretching it out, not only hitting the boundaries, but running well between the wicket.
Sophie Divine continues. It's Jensen. Yes, is it? Yes.
Jensen.
So she's back for her second over. Yes. What's a bit expensive in her first over, conceding 11 runs. Hayley Matthews, as you rightly say, she took her for 2 boundaries. It's a 2 excellent shot. So she will want to tighten things up here. This time just wide outside the off stump. Having a whopper that day was Hayley Matthews.
Yes.
Making no contact.
Yes, she is in that aggressive mode. That one really was temptation, but we didn't see any movement of the feet. We just saw the bat being flung at the ball. Did not connect.
She had scored 8 runs in the previous match. We want to really get something, a decent score. This one is guided past the keeper and is going to run away to the boundary for 4. Would you say a deliberate shot, Seth?
Yes, it was delicately played, but it was high risk. I thought what happened in the end, look at it. She was angling the face of the bat to go a little, I thought, a little bit more away from the wicket keeper. The ball had a bit more height. Good bowling on the part of Jensen. He had good skill. High level of skill on the part of Hayley Matthews. Risky yet.
Bring in the rewards. Let's see. This time again, short. Pulled away through mid-wicket. Just going to run away, is it? It's going to go close to the boundary. And it's going to be cut off nicely. And they're going to come back for 2. So Hayley Matthews really being aggressive to Jensen here. You saw that in the previous over, and now again. But this is a good start here from Matthews. 29 from 26. We saw she struggled a bit in the first game. 15 from 23 deliveries. Also in the second game, 8 from 13. So this is a good positive start from her. As it's this time she's guiding this one past point. The fielder at third man comes around, and they just a single. So a good start from Hayley Matthews.
Yes, certainly. She's on a mission here. She's clearly on a mission. She has been very decisive to anything that is marginally short in going across and pulling. She has been excellent outside the off stump. Really, we saw some exquisite drives and a square drive for 4. She has also been delicate. The question is, how long would Kaishona Knight stand with her in this partnership?
This time again, short delivery, looking to pull that one, not making the contact. So a good over, despite that 4. It has been a decent over from her, considering 11 in the first. So at the end of 6 overs, it's 34 for 1, Seth.
Well, looking fairly decent in terms of utilizing the power play. In the first match, it was 39 for 1, so they have only lost 1 wicket, which has been the trend here. The question you may ask, could it be more runs? It has been basically all Hayley Matthews. From 27 of those 36 deliveries, she would have, well, of the 27 she faced, she would have scored 30. But I think what the West Indies would have agonized about would have been the dismissal of Aliin, who really played all across a ball and was out.
And this time Johnson, Jonas into the attack. Hayley Matthews she was going for that almighty Hoyt down the ground. Got a top edge and a safe catch in the end from Susie Bates. And that's the end of Hayley Matthews. You were now talking about it, Seth.
Yes, here was she trying to go down the ground, but the ball took a leading edge. It went in the air. It presented an easy catch. The intent was not bad, but I thought that it was the first delivery after the power play. She could have had it a different manner. Perhaps she's saying, had I gotten it down the ground as intended, it would have been 6. But from the time she played the shot and realized where the ball was going, she just turned around even well before the catch was taken by Jonas.
Yeah, maybe she should have gone a bit straighter.
That may have been the intent, but you know, the late movement, I think, of the delivery, she was still in the crease. She did not move towards the ball as expected, but she was expecting to play through the line. That was the intent. At the end of the day, she perishes. So what? The other players would have to then put their hands up, because scores of 115 and 107 batting first would not reflect what they would want. With this series now tied at 1-1, I think the rest of the batting would have to come to the party.
Yeah, definitely, and it's Rashada Williams comes to the crease now to join Knight. That's Kishona Knight. So Jonas getting that important wicket of Hayley Matthews, and it's, as you said, you know, nice analysis there with the left arm orthodox, getting that ball to move away from the right hander. So that was very smart bowling on her part, and she slows it up again, shows it up in the air, and all Williams could do is come forward and play. So that is an important wicket. If Hayley Matthews, as you rightly said, could have stayed there for a little longer, she looked really good, getting 30 from 30 deliveries, or 28 deliveries, sorry. But again, this time just short down the leg side, looking to pull that one into the onside, but straight to that fielder at short, yes, fine leg, short fine leg, and no run. 34 for 2 now. Different ball game.
Totally different ball game. I think what is commendable, though, is how the New Zealand captain, how she has really bowled her bowlers. She kept changing it up, didn't give you an opportunity to be settled, and I think that may have reaped dividends, especially for the wicket of Haley Matthews.
Yeah, not allowing the batters to settle on one bowler. Every over presents something different. And we saw her doing that game after game. Yeah, just keep rotating the bowlers. So that's excellent from her, especially in this format. You don't want the batters to settle.
In fact, the first maiden.
Oh, yes. Wicket maiden in that.
That's right.
It's a wicket maiden for Jonas. She has 2 overs, 1 for 5. So she continues her good form with the ball here for the New Zealanders. And the other bowlers, as I was about to mention, Amelia Kerr, she's on the attack.
Yes.
The other spinner that Sophie Devine really throws the ball to when she wants wicket or to keep the runs down. And both spinners, both Jonas and Kerr, Amelia Kerr, have been doing that job for her throughout this series.
Yes, and Kerr is playing alongside her sister, Jess Kerr, in this game, who came in as a replacement. And this is actually Kerr's 50th T20 International.
Yes, and 50th International, T20 International. T20, is it? Yes. At age 21, that's excellent.
So it means that they're grooming, that they have a program that transitions nicely from under 19 into the senior team.
Yeah, this time cut away by Kishwana Knight for an easy single. So this is what is required here now. Rotation of the strike. You have lost your 2 opening batters. The 2 batters, in particular, Aline, who have been scoring runs consistently for you up front. So now that you have lost both of them, it's an opportunity, as we said in the previous match, for the middle order and lower order to come good for them now. So it's a perfect opportunity for Williams here, Rashada Williams. She hasn't been among the runs of late. Could she use this opportunity, going up the order now, to get some runs?
The key for the West Indies here, we speak about confidence, which we saw in Haley Matthews. We have not really seen the consistency so far in this T20 series, but the other batters would need to show both confidence and start to show a measure of consistency.
Again, this one tossed up wide outside the off stump. Going for that one there was Williams, and a good take by the keeper, Geese. So it's good tight bowling here now. They have gotten that important wicket, and they are closing the clamp now. Again, that nice, looking for that single. Tight in the end, but well home.
Well, I guess they were decisive at the start, which was important, but it looked a bit dicey to me, but they would have picked it well.
Well, to be honest, they'll have to take those chances now. Try to get those singles. The boundaries are difficult to come by, so they will have to do their best to get that single. There's a lot of space in the onside here for Knight. A lot of room for just push the ball into the onside and pick up runs. Again, this one is cut away. Fielder comes over that cover boundary. They'll get a single. So again, another good over. Just 3 runs coming off that. At the end of 8, it's 37 for 2 set.
Yes, so the challenge now for the West Indies would be to get through these middle overs, I would say, without losing any further wicket, but the challenge is still to ensure that the run rate is at a decent phase, because you barely, you won the first game. It could have gone either way. You lost the second with 1 delivery remaining. You need to get beyond that 115 of the first game. You need to be thinking 125, 130 in that zone or beyond that, because this is a good New Zealand team. So it is critical that these batters show the reason why they have been selected for this match.
Yes, change in bowling, as we continuously see here. It's Carson into the attack. This one is whooped away by Knight into the onside for an easy single. So this is what is required, rotation of the strike.
Rotation of the strike, but also confidence, because that was a full toss. And you had, a vacant long off. You do have a cover. Well, in that case, did have a cover, but there was a gap there, and to play that full toss in that manner does not suggest that the confidence level of the batter is high.
Yes, totally agree. Carson coming off an excellent spell in the previous game, 4 overs, 2 for 12, and she picks up another one. So Carson immediately strikes for the New Zealanders here. Rashada Williams looking to work this one into the onside, but only finding the safe hands of Susie Bates. And that's the end of Rashada Williams. That's the third wicket. She goes for 1. West Indies now 38 for 3, Seth.
38 for 3, not a good sign. Hope it's not a sign of things to come, but we were looking after that partnership between in fact the second wicket partnership. We were looking for someone to carry on. The partnership was dominated by the captain, who scored 30 of the 34 runs coming there, and now we see that this partnership didn't even yield 5 runs. So from 34 for 1, we're now 38 for 3. Good start by New Zealand, but there needs to be consolidation on the part of the West Indies.
Yeah, and we saw Knight and Williams, they were looking for that single, push the ball around. There was no need for that shot, really. But in the end, she played it, went straight to Susie Bates, and that was her demise.
Well, Chanel Henry's at the wicket, and she has some good competency in batting. You cannot fault her for confidence. She may just have to rearrange and decide to bat longer today. Comes forward nicely to her first delivery, showing the full face of the bat. Rather competent cricketer. You look at her, you see that she is comfortable in her display, both with the ball and the bat. Means that the mindset is right.
Yeah, well, she did have a 24 of 22 deliveries in the previous game, 10 of 10 in the first game. And in the previous game yesterday, we saw her scoring, I believe, was 14 to 15 runs of the last 3 or 4 deliveries. So they would want her to really have a huge inning, a big innings here, if they had to get up to a decent total anywhere between 100 and 120. This time it's driven down the ground by Kishona Knight, and they get another single. So singles is of the order. I think this is required for next 5 overs or so. If they could try to get 4 or 5 runs an over, just rotating the strike, it will give them a platform and where they can launch at the end. This time again looking for a quick single, and this is what you'll get with Henry. She looks to run quick, as Stacey put it nicely yesterday. She's a runner and she looks to run quick singles between the wickets, and this is good from her. She's going to push Knight here in terms of getting runs. So at the end of 9, it's 41 for 3 sets.
Yes, she's a runner. I think that is one thing that I think was even clear even prior to her arrival. From the get-go, you saw that from the opening pair. They were rotating the strike. Hayley Matthews, she really dominated the strike, took the first over, then 4 of the second. So you saw that intent. But I think where Henry may want to stand tall now is that she may have to be not only rotating the strike, but looking to get the scoring rate beyond 5 and on the up.
Yeah, definitely. It's Amelia Kerr to continue. This one just outside the off, some good delivery from her.
Do you think she felt she would have been tempted because she didn't play any stroke on that?
Well, we'll see. She left that one alone. Let's see if she's this time she's driving nicely. Pleasant drive down the ground for an easy single. And this is exactly what we were saying, Seth, in terms of just push the ball around for the next 4 to 5 overs, get singles, get your confidence. That word again, Seth.
And in T20, there is no leaving alone anything.
It's Amelia Kerr tonight. She works this one nicely again into the onside for singles. So the singles are coming. The left and right combination working for them here. Is this what is required now for the West Indies here, Seth?
Well, they would have to play accordingly. Henry showing positive intent. She was going to have a go at that one, did not time it, but was able to get the single. So at least we have seen 4 deliveries, at least 3 singles. Rotating the strike, keep the blood flowing, focusing on bigger things to come.
I like that one. Keep the blood flowing. That's nice. It's Amelia Kerr. Again, a good delivery. Loud appeal from Amelia Kerr. But not out, says the umpire. Again, looking to play across the line here was Knight. Not required at this point in time. So it's a good over. This 3 runs coming off it, but not bad for in terms of the West Indies as well. So guided into the offside, a quick single, and Henry is very quick. The runner, as she's been called, goes through nicely for that one. At the end of 10, it's 45 for 3. Some more words from you as we welcome back Vernon and Stacey and King.
So if we are to assess things at 45 for 3, if it were to continue in this vein, the West Indies may well struggle to get 100. So therefore, Chanel Henry, she has her work cut out. Kaisia Knight, she has been around long enough. The New Zealand bowlers, they're really having a field day in this, the 3rd T20 International.
We say thanks to Set and Run for their small stint there. The New Zealand have used some 6 bowlers. West Indies have lost wickets at 1 for 17, 2 for 34, 3 for 38. Frank Jonas, 2 overs, 5 runs, 1 wicket. Haley Jensen, 2 overs, 18 runs, no wicket. Jessica, 2 overs, 5 runs, 1 wicket. Sophie Devine, 1 over, 6 runs, no wicket. Amelia Kerr, 2 overs, 7 runs, no wicket. And Eden Carson, 1 over for 4 runs with 1 wicket. As I welcome back Stacey and King. West Indies 45 for 3 at the end of 10.
Yeah, thanks, Vernon. Yeah, they need to rebuild here. The flags are fluttering. A good wind is blowing across this field as well. A good cooling breeze. Good conditions for this 3rd T20 International.
In case you've just joined us, West Indies losing their first wicket of Aline Bowl by Jessica for 1, and then the captain Haley Matthews caught Susie Bates bowl Frank Jonas for 30, 28 balls, 4 boundaries, and then Rashada Williams caught Bates bowl Carson for 1. Shilton Henry has come in to join Kashana Knight. Knight 7, Henry 4, and we're back with Eden Carson, who's going to bowl to Kashana Knight to start over number 11.
And this partnership in its early days, but I just think a bit more rotation is needed from Kai Shona Knight.
Here is Kaishona playing across the line there, and Henry wants to get on strike, but she's going to have to be careful because communication is a two-way street. So your partner has to respond.
If I'm kind of Shona Knight, I'll actually look for that single because she seems to be trapped with this spin bowling lineup.
She's back and pulling this one into the mid-on area, getting an easy single. So she got off strike, and as you said, she does maybe have to try to hit the ball too hard, just slice it into the gap. And you know, so far based on what I've seen from Chanel Henry, the ball is coming off of her bat sweetly. She's enjoying this series.
It almost seems as though she's learned from those games played, and that's kind of what you want from your players, to see that learning, that they understand the opposition and the changes that the opposition may bring.
I think it also has to do with the team culture too, what the team wants you to execute on the day. She's got a promotion here, Stacey and King, so she'd want to seize that opportunity. Down the onside, Carson gets a wide. They're trying to, not go into the areas where Chanel Henry is strong.
I think she just needs to continue rotating for this period because she's one of those players that can really power a punch in the last couple overs. The 18 runs were scored off that last over in the previous T20 match. Courtesy the striking of Chanel Henry.
And sometimes as a batter, it's always good to look on from the non-striker's end. Just nudge and get a single. Over number 11 completed. And the West Indies are struggling here. They're 47 for 3. Knight is 8. Henry is 4. And Carson's 2. Has cost 1 for 6.
I think it's a two-way street. If Chanel Henry's trying to find gaps and find singles, Kaishona Knight also has to do same.
So New Zealand have gone for their 7th bowler in Susie Bates, who originally bowled medium pace. This time around she is converted to bowl, as we'd say, some fast off breaks.
And again, this middle period being, they've learned their lesson, New Zealand. These middle overs, this time around, they've opted to just use spin. It has been 5 overs of spin. They've gotten 2 wickets. And West Indies have only scored 13 runs from that.
Here is Kashana Knight missing out on a full toss, and simply because the right foot really didn't come out to the pitch of the ball. Got to stay low to the ball and just find the gap. Forget about the power. Just make contact, find the gap. Little mix. Here is Knight playing around that delivery, but in the end getting a leg by.
You can't help but to think something's got to give because they're being clamped down by these spinners. And Chanel Henry is not one to stay down for too long.
Down the onside here from Susie Bates, and I think that the reason for that is because Chanel Henry is more or less batting like off stump line, and she maybe wants to bowl around her legs.
Would be an option to have her play into the wind blowing across her.
49 for 3. West Indies in a web of a tangle here with the New Zealand spinners. Somebody just need to release the pressure gap. Beauty of a delivery there, ball by Bates. And Chanel Henry just placed under some pressure. She got to keep talking to herself. As Stacey King said, spend a little time at the crease, get a single, get off strike. Just knock it into the gap, knock it into the area.
Yeah, it's only 20 overs. So they've got to find a way.
Divine has been excellent here with a captaincy, and New Zealand have bowled to a plan consistently. They've kept ringing the changes on the West Indian batters. Henry again misses another delivery, another dot ball. And over number 12 is completed. West Indies, they're 49 for 3, only 1 run out of that over, a leg by.
Yeah, really troubling signs. I mean, if you're looking at this, you're wondering what exactly is happening. And these are 2 batters that are quite capable, Chanel Henry and Kaishona Knight. Knight has been out there for 19 balls. Henry has now been out there for 14 balls. They've got to get things going.
Carson to bowl to Knight, and Knight losing her shape there, looking to go across the line and would be advised to maybe just hit the ball down the ground. It'd be a lot more easy, because once you try to go across the line, then your head moves. It's more or less looking for power. Just find the gap. There's vast acres of land here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. Got to be able to look to convert 1 into 2s. 50 up for the West Indies. Here is Henry taking a suicide single. Appeal for a run out, but I think she got in with the dive. And that, I think, was suicide, Stacey and King.
That was definitely suicidal. She's lucky that she dived to get in. And you want to run on Susie Bates. Yeah, the bail's just falling eventually, but it was a direct hit.
Here is another suicide single again.
Well, I don't mind that one too much because pace was taken off and the fielders on the ring had to come off. So I don't mind that one too much, but they need to look at this running between the wickets.
Henry back in strike. She's 5. 3 singles off the over so far as Eden Carson into. Here is Henry going for again a big heave. Just play it into the leg side area and get 2. Don't have to go for the maximum.
And that's what happens when pressure is being built. You try to find a release shot and you lose your shape, you lose your form, you lose everything.
Here is Henry just back and just turning this, picking up a single. So far they've been able to get 4 singles quite easily. But the pressure is mounting, like you said. They feel they have to get a boundary. You don't always have to get a boundary. You can get 5, 6 singles out of it. 53 for 3. Knight on 10. The left-hander. Carson to Knight. Knight is again playing. Head lost her shape there. Fell over. End of over number 13. And I can say to you, Stacey and King, the New Zealand bowlers, they've used 7 so far. They're getting in these overs very quickly.
Yeah, because it has only been spin after that power play where West Indies were 1 for 34. They've just used only spinners during that period to now. Number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 overs has been spin based.
53 for 3. Bates will continue. No, Bates was shifted now. It goes to Amelia Kerr. She comes in now to bowl to Henry. Henry is flashing at a wide delivery.
Yeah, and it's sensible from her as well because she's trying to trap Chanel Henry to play into that offside. Maybe thinking about getting her to edge that one to one of those 2 short fielders, backward point or short third.
And because of that delivery, it was wide. And she got a single off of the second one. So the first delivery ball by Kerr was a wide, signal by umpire Carl Tuckett. And the next delivery, Henry was just tapping it down to backward point and got another single. So she, in the meantime, score goes up to 55. Knight is 10, Henry 7. And Amelia Kerr from the Sir Andrew Robertson. Here is Kashona Knight losing her shape, not coming down long enough to keep there. I think that she's just needs to keep her balance and watch the ball a lot longer and get that stride out. It needs to, that right foot needs to come out and confidently and hit the ball down the ground. She keeps tugging it. No need for that.
And it's nothing that she's not capable of doing because in that last match when she scored 42, she struck a number of boundaries in that mid-off region. Mid-on region.
Kerr to Henry. Henry is driving beautifully to cover for 4. Didn't try to overhit it. Just used the pace and just glided it beautifully. Opened the face of the bat. Real good cricket shot. And that's a lovely shot by Henry, who has really improved here. And once he got past the New Zealand wall inside the 25-yard circle past Lara Down, there was no one stopping that one. Henry goes to 11. Both batters on 11 and the West Indies go up to 60 for 3. Henry driving on the offside, down the ground, picking up an easy single. She got to keep talking to herself. In the meantime, Kashona Knight has to remind herself of the basics. Her skill set is to hit the ball up the V. Much better shot, driven down the ground. So both batters at the end of over number, just about, we got one more delivery left. Things are happening so fast. Amelia Kerr not for 16, she's into her third over. Both batters are on 12. And Henry lost her shape there, Stacey and King.
Here, the end of 14 overs, 62 for 3.
Cool 9 runs out of that over, including a boundary. You give them some hope of getting up to 100, 110. But Henry would have to play a blinder, and she would maybe have to bat all 20 if West Indies are to get close to 100. And she's quite capable.
Yes, there's no change in strategy, more spin.
Here is again Kashona Knight tugging this one into the mid-wicket area, and they get 2 runs in the end. Every time she gets there, the head moves and the bottom man comes into play.
Yeah, losing her shape, but still manages to pick up 2 runs.
She goes up to 14. Frank Jonas. They have been very miserly, New Zealand, with their spin deliveries. Genchil coming forward and getting an easy single in the end. It's almost like knock a ball 1 run, as we would say. Hit and run. Knight.
There's been 3 runs so far from 2 balls, so a much better start.
Knight is 15. Henry, who's looked good so far, she's come into strike. She's on 12. 65 for 3. Clipped away down the onside. Beautiful stop there by the fielder, short fine leg, because had she not got around there, that would have been racing away down to the boundary for 4. So she would have saved 3 runs there. They got single in the end. Henry goes up to 13. Brings Knight, who's on 15, back into strike. 66 for 3. Jonas taking a good delivery there. Knight taking a risk there to pull away, to punch that. Getting a single in the end. Almost had a collision, but everything is good.
Yeah, at least there's more intent in this over to score, or to rotate the strike.
It's a good delivery there, good check shot there by Chanel Henry. She was advancing, she was thinking about it, but he was dipping on her. And she's saying, I want to go straight, but it just was not there.
But if she's going through the line of it, whether in the air or on the ground, that mid-off fielder is in the ring.
Flight is hitting this one in the air. And she's going to be out caught. Just as Stacey and King was talking about it. Great catch by Bates. Certainly shot not on Stacey and King. West Indies losing a wicket at a crucial time. At the end of the 15th over, Henry will be disappointed in the way she got out, Stacey and King.
Yeah, she would have pitched up delivery from Fran Jonas and opting to go down, trying to take on that boundary, that long boundary. A good catch from Susie Bates in the end. But West Indies now have lost their talisman in Chanel Henry. It brings a bit more pressure, but it also brings a change in commentary.
Yes. Yes, thank you very much, Stacey King. And so we enter with the fall of the 4th wicket. That's Henry. She was looking good at one point in time, but the fall of that wicket at the end of 15 overs, it's 67 for 4 as a welcome back set.
Yes, Ronnie, it has been a touch and go situation for the West Indies. You did see a good approach to consolidation between Henry and Knight. What you didn't see was the opportunity to really get on top of the bowling, because as Stacey has been saying, the spinners, they came on and they really stemmed the tide, and now that they have gotten that critical wicket of Henry, who can really hit the ball around, it would be interesting to see the approach taken by the West Indies batter going forward, or even whether Sophie Devine would continue with her spinners for the rest of the innings.
Well, she's going to continue the spinners in Susie Bates. After taking that wonderful catch, she now takes up the attack from Sir Andy Roberts' end, and immediately Nation is off the mark with that one worked into the onside. So a lot would depended on Knight here.
Yes,
She has to be the one to bat through this inning to give the team a decent total to defend.
yes. Well, you could contemplate what would be a decent score. By the end of the over, I guess you'll have it right.
Yes, it's Bates. Knight. Oh, Knight looking to go down the wicket here. But basically yorking herself in the end.
Yes.
And lucky for her, it was down the left side. A bit difficult to guard her by the keeper. And she had enough time to get back into her crease. So again, good bowling from Susie Bates here. She's into her second over, just conceding 2 runs thus far. As he keeps saying, the spinners have been, and this time she's bowled.
How do you do that? The ball is pitched on stumps, yet you're moving away to glide the ball into the offside. A disappointing way to be dismissed. Knight, especially after Chanel Henry, would have fallen. Let's look at this. She's Bates' first wicket. Nicely. Oh, she played on right onto the stumps. And I would say giving it away to some extent.
Yeah, looking to guide that one to the backward point. Yeah, looking to
And
guide
Bates
that
is
one.
bowling spin, a multi-dimensional player, but recognizing that something special is happening on the pitch. New Zealand has taken that approach. Kaishona Knight, though, she was the player on whom the West Indies' hopes would be on, especially that she would have been entrenched. She would have almost consumed 5 overs on her own. You really would have expected her to be batting through and allow the other batters to, play a more aggressive approach. But Gajnabi joins Nation, and let's see what this partnership can do for the West Indies.
Yeah, Gajnabi, it's a bit out of her element here in the lower part of the inning. She's not naturally aggressive, but she has gotten a lot of opportunities in the ODI batting at number 3. Hasn't really been among the runs, but it's an opportunity here for her nevertheless. With 4 overs and 3 deliveries remaining, Susie Bates continues. Again, this one is on the pads, looking to work that one into the onside. So pressure here on the West Indies batters. Could they get somewhere close to that 100 mark? It seems as the runs have been diminishing game after game. So 115, then 107. So it seems like it's getting less and less, which is something you don't want to see in a T20 set.
Well, that's correct. And also, it is usually one player with a fairly decent score, but not the partnerships that you would expect.
This time working straight to that fielder at short mid-wicket. And you mentioned partnership. That last partnership of 29 was the only partnership of substance in the innings. We
That's
had 2
right,
previously,
second,
the
yes.
first and second, 17 and 17. But that partnership was the telling partnership between Knight and Henry, which was 29 runs. But
And both falling within balls of each other. I think that is why Chidi Nation now, perhaps she would have to take the senior batter's role in this innings. She would need to step up. We're looking at, 4 overs remaining. Chidin Nation needs to say to herself, she needs to score at least at a run per ball, and best case scenario, get at least 8 runs per over to get the West Indies into a competitive position.
Okay, yeah, definitely. And the spinners are going to continue. They have done an excellent job thus far. It's Jonah. She's going to continue. She's into her 4th over. And this one is drilled straight to that field at backward point. And there's no run. So she's into her 4th over. 2 for 10, including
Excellent bowling. Excellent bowling. You could not deserve any better anywhere.
Jonas continues. And this one is in the air. This is going to be another wicket. It's going to be caught and bowled, Jonas. And that's the end of Nation. That's another wicket for Jonas. She picks up a 3rd. And that's the end. Nation goes for 1. It's 68 for 6. Set.
Wow. Really a decline on the part of the West Indies. She was trying to go across the line, and I think she played a bit early. In the end, the ball, it was a comfortable ball and caught catch for Jonas. I think as Nation is going back, I think perhaps it may be the loss of what you would expect an aggressive player as far as the West Indies are concerned, but we may be in for some surprises. So maybe someone would like to have the last laugh at me saying that. I think just like the Jamaica Tallowers had the laugh at all the critics when they pull off that wonderful win in the CPL over the favourites Barbados Royals. So I would not say that, but I think the last of that effort has gone, and they would now want to, what we would say, eke out in our local parlance. They would just want to ensure that they're there at the end of 20 overs, that they would have scored, a run per ball. And if they do, Ronnie, perhaps they could get somewhere around 90. But if they get beyond that, it would be definitely bonus.
Well, if they could get to 90, that would be excellent on their part, considering they are 68 for 6. And they would need something special, as we saw in the first T20 from Hanaru in the end.
Yes.
Where they would need something special like that.
That's right. And someone has to believe in themselves, because, the New Zealanders were written off at that time, and she brought some excitement that could have even been victory with an extra ball.
Yes, so this time it's hit over the head of Sophie Devine into the boundary for 4. So, that is it.
Yes, Gajnabi.
Oh,
she
yes.
is saying that she is showing that she may well be the surprise play in the pack. Well played shot, though. She measured it well. She picked the fielder well and went over the top into the boundary for 4. And she's playing from the right position, because she is going with the wind.
Yes, so that's a lovely shot to get her innings going. And this time guiding it nicely behind point. Good feeling there. And they get through for a single. So Kajnabi is proving us wrong here, Seth.
Well, not necessarily, because we hope for her. We would have seen her a couple of years ago. I know that she has that capacity. You rightly mentioned she was batting at number 3 during the ODI. So once you have it, technically, you really got it. You may not be a natural power hitter, but once you have it right technically, which she has shown, she can just be the element that the West Indies team may need to bat through to the end and take the chances. There has to be a turning point in every player, whether you're going to be successful or not. There has to be a time when you decide, I have to grab the bull by the horn. Top players are down. I want to be the hero today. And Gajnabi, along with Sherry and Fraser, may well be the hero here.
Yes, this time Sharon Fraser is on the back foot pushing this one down the ground. Eventually they get through for a single. So the score moves on down to 74 for 6.
I have not seen much of Fraser apart from her bowling. I know she made an impact in the initial game 2021 against South Africa. I know she made an impact to some extent yesterday. This is her first T20 actually opportunity. 3rd Right, her third T20. And this is her first run, Stacey and King comment. So she can say, at least I got off the mark.
Yes, definitely. At the end of 17, it's 74 for 6. Gajnabi, she's there on 5 from 6. And Fraser, we were now mentioning, off and running in her international career in terms of runs.
Yes, spectators here enjoying a view of it. But when it is heartwarming to see two young players with bright prospects. You gotta say, the other senior players are out. Take that out your mind. It is now our time. It's now our time perhaps to get a promotion. It's now our time to build our confidence. It's now our time to grab a hold of the opportunity. If you're looking at February to the World Cup, it is your time now. 3 overs can make a huge difference, not only in the team score, but in terms of your career, in terms of the path that you take. So let's hope that they can grab it.
Yeah, definitely. And you want them to do that here. As it seems like Susie Bates going to continue. And this one is driven down the ground by Fraser. And she gets a second run. Looks pretty comfortable at the crease. And driving that one down the ground.
Well, you can see that. Not only comfortable, the technique is right. She's moving to the ball. She's playing with the wrists. She's not trying to power it. And we have already seen Gajnabi and knows that she has pretty much a decent technique.
Yes, Susie Bates. And again, Gajnabi looking to chip down the ground and get that one straight. But good, a bit quicker there from Susie Bates. And all she could do is push that one into the covers.
She's a very crafty bowler. And once you have the choice of pace or spin, you're special.
Definitely. Again, a quick single. How she hit there, that would have been close. Looking, trying to steal a single there, but home safe in the end. We can see the replay. Home quite easily. There's Gajnabi. So this partnership is going to be critical here. Just remember, this 2 overs and 3 deliveries remaining. Gajnabi, that's Fraser, sorry, looking to hit that one into the leg side.
Well, she's showing her intent, and she has the right intention. She wants to go big, and she's playing with the turn.
Yes, correct. Playing with the turn. Again, going straight down the ground. This is a lovely shot. It's going to be taken. Wonderful catch there. Running around to her left and judging it nicely and taking an excellent catch. It looks like Amelia Kerr. And that's the end of Fraser. We now was talking about how good she looked. And well, it's really true. She looked good at that time at the crease. And that's the end of Fraser. She goes, it's 76 for 7. West Indies in all sorts of trouble here, Seth.
Yes, in a lot of trouble. A good catch by Amelia Kerr because she came around. I don't mind, it may sound funny to hear this, I don't mind you going like that because she had a well pitched up delivery. She played through the line. Timed it well, maybe did not get it into the zone that she expected, but it was an excellent run from long on. In fact, she would have already beaten the offside field. It may not have gone for 6, but I like the positive intent. I like to see, a player taking that risk because overs are running out. So we can't really be too hard on Fraser, but at this moment, the question is, how would Gajnabi then resolve all the challenges that are before her? The team has only scored 76 runs from 6, 2 overs and 2 balls remaining. It is interesting to see what approach that will be taken as she is now joined by Karishma.
It looks like
Ramara.
Fletcher.
No, in fact,
Yes.
Affy Fletcher, that's
Yes.
right. Affy
Looks like
Fletcher.
Fletcher.
Oh,
This one is worked onto the onside, I should say tugged onto the onside by Gajnabi for an easy single.
I see Fletcher coming. The She's a senior bat, but I'm wondering, perhaps Stacey, and who is off, can guide us. Is that the most aggressive option available at this moment to the West Indies?
I would agree, and Stacey nods her head in approval as well. As we see the bowling here, Jonas 4 overs 3 for 16, excellent. Jensen 2 overs for 18, yet to get a wicket. Jess Kerr 2 overs 1 for 5. Sophie Devine, the only bowler, she bowled 1 over, none for 6. Amelia Kerr 3 overs, none for 16. Carson 3 overs, 1 for 10. And Susie Bates 3 overs, 2 wickets, 5 runs. 14 dot balls in that.
The fall of wickets may have been devastating for the West Indies.
It's Carson to continue. This one is driven straight down to that's Sophie Devine. She has a bit of misfield, and they get through for a single. So getting back to that point with Fletcher, I think she's very aggressive. We saw her in one of the ODI, I believe was the second ODI, coming in the end and striking the ball well. So she has the ability to hit the long ball. But I thought she could have come ahead of Fraser.
That's why I asked the question. Oh, she pulls it well, taken on the mid-wicket boundary. She hoped that she would have gotten it over the boundary, but no, it was not meant to be. Jensen was well positioned, and Afi Fletcher goes. Wicket number 8 goes for the West Indies. It is 78 for 8.
And that's another wicket to Carson. She picks up a second in the process. So as you mentioned, well placed. The field placing has been excellent from Sophie Devine, and her bowlers have been bowling to the field, and they have picked up wickets consistently.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you want.
She didn't even have to move. It was right in her lap. She just opened the palms and was able to take that catch. So the West Indies, any calculation, 10 deliveries remaining in the West Indies innings. And for the third time, they have been put into bat by New Zealand. So there is some magic on the coin with Sophie Devine. No magic yet as far as the West Indies batting is concerned, because
Shakira Selman,
well,
she comes to the crease now.
Quite an experienced camper.
Certainly is. But it's Carson. Gajnavi looking to pull this one into the onside. A bit of misfeel of her own ball in there, but well backed up by Susie Bates. No chance of a single. So you had mentioned 90, that magic number 90. Yeah, 12 runs away from that.
Well, can get it.
This one is down the ground for an easy single.
It is always good, though, to see triple figures on the board. At least 100. It said something to the mind. 100 plus, whether it's 108 or 115. Anything under that could be quite a challenge and even devastating for the bowlers to defend in the T20 setting.
Yes, Carson, and this time it's Selman is shipping down the wicket. Just scooting this one into that mid-wicket region for an easy single. So the boundaries are not coming, and that is the problem here for the West Indies. The boundaries, they haven't been able to hit the boundaries regularly, and this one is driven down the ground by Gajnabi, and they get another single.
And interestingly, well, as we have completed over number 90 in 81 for 8, as you mentioned, boundaries, in Hayley Matthews' score of 30, she struck 4 fours. If we were to look at the total fours outside of Hayley Matthews, that must call for some analysis by the West Indies technical staff, because there has to be a time when Hayley Matthews, she's opening, perhaps the pressure on her is whether or not I try to bat through. How do I play my natural game, guessing or wondering, so that analysis ought to be done about the boundary hitting capacity
Well,
of the
that's-
team beyond the leader.
Well, thus far, only 6 boundaries have been hit. So it's 4 by Matthews, 1 by Henry, and 1 by Gajnabi.
That sums it up.
That sums it up. So, into the last over here. It's going to be bowled by Amelia Kerr. So spin, spin, and more spin.
I reckon it would be, 15 overs of spin? So from the 7th over, after the power play, now we're in over number 20. So we're looking at 14 overs of spin by the time we would have completed. Good thinking on the part of the Sophie Devine and her team. Perhaps the technical staff worked it out and say we don't want the Pacers bowling through the West Indies. This one is well driven, but not too far out. Not threatening boundary levels at all. Bates was able to feel that comfortably, but Gajnabi, she's back on strike. She's in double figures.
Yes, she's down the ground. This one is over the head of that mid-on fielder into the boundary for 6. Actually, it goes all the way for 6. That's a wonderful shot from Gajnabi.
The first 6 of the innings, look how she made that simple. It was tossed up on the volley, and she whacked that straight. Amazing shot, and it shows the capacity of this player. She has the temperament to keep cool and at the right time to have a go.
Yes, and this time again down the ground. The fielder is down. That's a bit of misfield, and they're going to go back for 2.
This is a good prospect. This is someone who recognizes when to consolidate and when to go, and shows that she's adept at both defending and also extending herself.
Yeah, batting and depending on the situation of the game, and this is a good awareness from her. Initially it wasn't required, just push the ball around. Now, where she goes again, this time it's in the air, it's going to be taken. Easy catch there in the end. And that's the end of Gajnabi. A well played 19 from 16, but she has to go. It's now 91 for 9 seconds.
An excellent effort, striking at a rate of 118. You'd see how the wicket went. She was already going across. The intent was to go straight. The ball was wider, and she went down to long off. Good catch easily in the end by Susie Bates, but the approach taken by Gajnabi ought to be commended. The only batter scoring at over 100 at a rate apart from captain Hayley Matthews, and I think she has given West Indies a little, very little breathing space.
Little breathing space. Well, they got up to that 90 mark. 91, and this one is in the air. Is it going to be the final wicket here? And dropped. Oh.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it seems like Plymouth is under that one. Should have been an easy catch. He was under that one, but spilled it in the end. It cost them 2 runs, but at the end of 20, it's 93 for 9. West Indies survived. They didn't get bowled out. They survived. 93 for 9. Salman ended up with 4. Ramharak didn't face a ball. Seth, I have one question for you. Do you think that's good enough on this wicket?
No, it's not good enough. I can answer you. I think the wicket, there is we didn't see any sign of any deterioration or any ball keeping low. I think it was a true wicket, and when you saw Hayley Matthews with her brilliant 30 from 28 balls, it really was an innings from the get-go that was threatened to be something special. But I think once she went after, Aline would have departed earlier, Knight stayed around for a bit. Rashada Williams, she didn't stand her ground for the West Indies. Chanel Henry, along with Knight, showed the prospect of really motoring on, but they were really bogged down by the spinners, and once that happened, it was only Gajnabi that really gave the West Indies something to smile with her 19. But on the New Zealand end, superb bowling by Fran Jonas. She really started well and really kept the West Indies down. 3 for 16 from 4 overs, an economy rate of just 4. Then there was good bowling from Jen Kerr. She came on 1 for 5 from her too. Economy rate of just 2.5. Yet the Pacers were taken out. And then we saw Amelia Kerr 1 for 28 from her 4. Carlson 2 for 14 from her 4. An economy rate of 3.5. But Susie Bates mixing it up, as you say, with the fast spinners, cutting the ball into the left-hander, also in and away from the right-hander, a superior skill level. 2 for 5. 2 for 5 from 1 point. Well, in fact, with an economy rate of 1.7, I think those bowlers, Bates, Kerr, Carson in the end, and Jonas, they really made the difference. West Indies, I thought for one, should have been better. They had a good start from their captain, Haley Matthews, but I don't think anyone else, apart from Chanel Henry and Gajnabi, showed that aggressive inclination or the confidence that they could have taken it home. Summarizing it all, Matthews was superb, Gajnabi was good at the end, Knight had a decent 16, Henry had a decent 13, but it was not really built in a way in which it could have provided a threat. But congratulations to Jonas with her 3 for 16 and Bates and Carlson with their 2 wickets, keeping the West Indies under pressure.
Yeah, definitely. Jonas continued a good form in the first game. She got 2 for 13, and the second game 2 for 10. So she continues to do good work here with the ball. So that's it here. The West Indies, as we said before, New Zealanders, they won the toss and elected to field. West Indies in their 20 overs, 93 for 9. New Zealand requiring 94 runs for victory in their 20 overs. We'll join you back. Please join us back in about 15 minutes or so, where we'll see how the New Zealanders go about that chase. Thank you.
Welcome back to the second session of this all-important clash with the West Indies women and the New Zealand women in the third T20 CG United International Series here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. I'm Vernon I. Springer and I'm alongside Stacey and King. West Indies 93 for 9 in their first innings knock here. 6 boundaries and 1 6. Haley Matthews top scoring with 30. Gajnabi 19, Knight 16. And once again, the New Zealand spinners continue to dominate. 15 overs between them, 1 maiden, 63 runs, 8 wickets. Jonas, Kerr, Carson, Bates. It will now be down to the West Indies team to try and see if they can defend 93. 93 singles off 120 balls. Stacey and King, your predictions?
Afternoon, Vernon Springer. Good afternoon to all our viewers. We witnesses another low-scoring innings from West Indies. They really struggled to score frequently against, as you mentioned, those spinners from New Zealand. After the power play, it has only been spin from over number 7 to 20. So Susie Bates and Sophie Devine will be the opening pair once again for New Zealand, but they would have realized that West Indies, they're not reading the spinners quite clearly. So opting for a healthy diet of spin.
So Chanel Henry will start from the circle Ambrose end. West Indies started with no slip, but more or less a third man. A gully, backward point, cover, mid off, mid on, short mid wicket, straight away. A single down to the third man fielder. Sweeper on the offside. They need to take early wickets, and Chanel Henry will have to rock back this team. Devine, the New Zealand captain, is off the mark. Bates comes in to strike. They're two most experienced batters. And it's amazing that you were talking about low scores, Stacey and King. In 2018, there was a series in New Zealand, and the high score in that series, I think, would have been 185 for 3. We'll get back to that. Chanel Henry pitched up lovely on drive from Bates. Yeah, we come back to that series the last time that these two teams would have met, and I think that would have been on the tour of New Zealand. 167 for 6, West Indies 159 for 9. This was 2018. We also have another situation as we take a break. Down the onside, a tickle. The leg glance more or less. That is racing away, going down to the final leg area, but I think they'll only get 2 runs quite easily. I think it might be leg buys. Just came off the bat, so Henry lucky with that one.
A good chase from Karishma Ramharak. She'll have to bowl a bit more on the off. Chanel Henry, she's getting the ball to swing, to induck. Very nice.
Again, talking about scores there, New Zealand 185 for 3, West Indies 79 for 8. Henry to Bates. Bates is coming quietly forward. 134 for 7, West Indies 133 for 7. And in the final game, 139 for 5, New Zealand women 143 for 3. So compare, that was the last series that they would have played, and that would have been in New Zealand. This has really been a real low total, some low totals here in the Caribbean. Punch down the ground, can't score.
A good movement from Shabika Gajnabi in that mid-on position. But this is a good over from Chanel Henry, other than that wide and a single which was taken off the first ball.
I think he had 2 leg byes. Henry bounding away. Bates is driving beautifully up to Gajnabi again. A little airy. And she's maybe thinking about going with it. She's now rehearsing the shot. The most important thing is she's there. Over number 1 is completed. New Zealand start quietly. They're 3 without loss. Bates not, Divine. It is 1.
Yeah, just looking to be aggressive, but that second ODI, her knock of 54 of 61 really anchored New Zealand's innings. Sophie Divine, well, she only scored 8 in that match. But it was all about Susie Bates and her temperament, her control, and her maturity.
Then they're starting with their captain, Hayley Matthews. Sometimes you have to try different things, Stacey and King. You need wickets. Got to get wickets. Maybe get in a Fraser in the earlier clock. Try something different.
Yeah, I think after seeing the rewards from Cherry Ann Fraser in the last game, when she just got a good bounce, good carry, she bowled in some really good areas. Might have been a better opportunity to see her with the new ball, see what variation she can extract.
First ball stroked down to long on for a single. Thinking about a single there is Bates, but she's got to hurry back into her crease. There has to be a different tactic. You want to get wickets into the power play overs, and if you can knock back Bates and Divine, with the new ball especially, you never know, it could just inspire the team.
Yeah, well, we've seen that work for New Zealand. That tactic of bowling 14 overs of spin after the power play, it has reaped rewards.
Here is Bates losing her shape there. That ball sort of dipped onto her, and she was going across the line of the ball. Sherry and Fraser at the short mid-wicket area came up. Flatter faster, she's pulling it away, diving effort there on Sherry and Fraser short mid-wicket, but I don't think she's in the traditional short mid-wicket area position. Stacey and King maybe just needed a little bit to her left, and she might have maybe just pulled off a little sitter there. She's a tall lady, and she was diving for all her worth, but she goalkeeper faster, and she just couldn't get across to it. Bates comes quietly forward, and I think the pressure is on Bates and Divine, because they know that if New Zealand is to get anywhere close to this target, one of them have to bat through the entire innings.
Yeah, I mentioned we saw that from Susie Bates in the previous game, but Sophie Divine, well, she hasn't fully come to the party just yet.
And first wicket for the West Indies. Rashada Williams, poor shot by Bates. What she was thinking about, I would never know. And pressure, not really pressure, but a shot that she certainly will be very disappointed with. Bates goes for 2. West Indies strike early.
Just as we have a look again at that delivery and that wicket, courtesy Hayley Matthews, attempting to slug sweep into that leg side and gets a top edge, and Rashada Williams takes a comfortable catch. And she'll be very disappointed with that after scoring a half century in the first game. Susie Bates, she goes for 2 of 10. New Zealand 6 for 1.
Could be this the skipper's day. We don't know. But we'll wait and see. In the meantime, Plymouth comes out. Georgina Plymouth. So she's been given a role to barrier today. New Zealand building more or less, rebuilding. 2 overs bowled, 6 for 1. Chanel Henry would want to be able to knock over the New Zealand captain and then just rock that dressing room, New Zealand dressing room. New Zealand need 88 runs of 100 balls. Chanel Henry glides away, chipped over the mid-wicket area. Nation is after it. Come back quietly for 2 runs.
Yeah, not fully in control, Georgia Plymouth, but again, just getting enough bat to get over that inner ring.
West Indies are going to have to seriously look at the options that they have available, and they don't have a lot available. Georgia Plymouth cramp for room there, can't score. Just plays it up to Haley Matthews. And when I'm talking about availability, I'm talking about some of the senior players. You can't have somebody like a Nation who's been around for some time and coming up with these small scores. It might be a better option to invest in a younger under 19 player. Wide delivery by Chanel Henry, and it is signal wide. And umpire Crawford. The investment, West Indies have to bite the bullet. The selection panel have to start looking otherwise, start looking outside of the box, and coming up with some different options. Here is Plymouth on driving to Nation, can't score.
And it's something that New Zealand has done. They've given these young players, including Georgia Plymouth, who's out there, an opportunity because they've done really well at their domestic season. So they've rewarded these opportunities, these performances from these young players.
The issue that you've been having, Stacey and King, is that there are not a lot of young players that are getting in a position to be able to perform, and that is also going to be a headache. And so maybe the rebuilding time and the rebuilding process has to take place. We're hoping that something is going to happen. Here is a punch by Plymouth, square the wicket, coming around is Kashwana Knight. And the aggressive running by the New Zealand batters, putting some pressure on the West Indian fielders.
And if nothing else, you can see that they're hungry to learn, they're hungry to be here, they're hungry for the experience, these young players from New Zealand.
And it is also the skill set too. I mean, when you look at the skill set, it doesn't matter who is coaching, Stacey and King or whoever could be coaching you. You as a player have to take some pride in your game. You have to be able to work on your game. You have to look at videos. And the good thing about it is that all of these players, they have all of this work. So when you go to the nets, you know, the way you keep getting out all the time, you have to change that. You have to continue to work. Look at other players around the world as to how you can improve your game. Here is slap by the New Zealand captain out to the sweeper. She gets a single. 3 overs bowled, 11 for 1. New Zealand need 83 of 102 balls. Good start. I really like Chanel Henry's approach so far in the series. She's been strong. See, Matthews is continuing now. I would have maybe gone for Sherry and Fraser based on what would have been happening, but she's continuing again. And sometimes you maybe just have to try different things, work your options up.
And she picked up that wicket of Susie Bates, so probably just giving herself another chance to pick up another wicket.
Here's a positive drive by Sophie Devine, but cut off nicely by Haley Matthews, and not allowing the ball to go down to long on. I think the mid-wicket, she needs to look at the positioning of her short mid-wicket, which just needs to come a little bit to her left, and force Devine to look to the right of the mid-wicket fielder. Look for that gap. Full toss. And she's hitting across the line. The ball, she's out leg before. She's looking down as to say, I was moving out of my crease. Let's look at that replay again, Stacey and King.
Yeah, it's a good plot, opting to keep herself on Haley Matthews and just trick Sophie Devine into playing across a flighted delivery. So yeah, you miss, and that would have run straight into the stumps. Good appeal, good wicket.
Yeah, poor shot by the New Zealand captain again, and wars continue in the Caribbean.
Well, this is an interesting time because they've now seen the back of Susie Bates and Sophie Devine, the most experienced players for New Zealand. So now what can happen is they're just going to have younger players coming in here and an opportunity for West Indies to kind of make a mark through.
Out comes Amelia Kerr, who has been very impressive in the 50-over format. New Zealand need 83 of 106 balls. West Indies have picked up the two most experienced players for New Zealand, and so it could be game on here. But they have to keep believing, they have to keep attacking. Very poor shot by the New Zealand captain. And as Stacey and King said, she played down the wrong line, and not only playing down the wrong line, she was crouching and it hit between wicket and wicket. Maybe she might have been a better option in hitting it on the full.
Well, they've got to win. If they have to win this game or give themselves a chance, West Indies, they need wickets.
11 for 2. All 2 wickets to Matthews. Rashada Williams wicket keeping this game. She goes down behind the stump. Kerr is bowled. Matthews strikes here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium.
And what a bowling performance this is from Hayley Matthews. 2 wickets in this over. That isn't completed thus far. And she's leading from the front. Straight through the gates.
Yeah. Big gap there. Real big gap. And just was not tight enough at all there, Amelia Kerr. And the wall of Kerr broken.
Well, this is an interesting start here for West Indies. And this is their best start yet. 3 for 11. They've got New Zealand in a bit of trouble at this point.
Out comes Maddie Green. And as Stacey and King said, because of the new players in the team, he'll now send some shatters through that dressing room.
It's good. It's good competition because you want your experienced players in Hayley Matthews, who is only 24 years of age, Janelle Henry, and some of the others who will get the opportunity to bowl to really use those matchups and put pressure on this New Zealand team.
New Zealand need 83 from 98 balls, but it's a whole different ball game here. They're 11 for 3 here in the 3rd ODI. Natasha McLean trying to sneak across the boundary board there. Umpire Carl Tuckett asked her to go back. Here's Maddie Green coming quietly forward to a very nice flighted delivery, which was bang on target. 11 for 3, New Zealand in trouble here. Here goes the West Indies captain. Goes past umpire Carl Tuckett. It's in now to bow to Green. Green is back and punching that. Diving away is Afi Fletcher, a backward point. And in fact, it's Selman, not Fletcher. End of a very successful over for the West Indies. Matthews picking up 2 important wickets. She's now got 3 for 3. New Zealand 11 for 3. Green North Plymouth is on 3. They need 83 from 97 balls.
Yeah, double wicket maiden from Hayley Matthews. Yeah, they'll have to keep putting pressure on all bowlers, all fielders. They need to be switched on.
Henry driven straight down the ground, coming around nicely is the fielder. So West Indies, their tails are up, and I can tell you this, spectators here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, they're very vocal. They have come out in their numbers, and they've been vocal from game 1 of the 50 over. Driving in the air, just over the mid-off, over Fraser. They get a couple of runs there, Plymouth. And not really to the pitch of it, Stacey and King, but had enough to just get it over the fielder.
I think that they're not strong players to say that they'll clear this boundary, because we saw a number of catches being taken for New Zealand when West Indies batted. So they're not going to clear the boundaries. So I think those fielders just need to be alert.
Here was Plymouth steering this down to the third man area. And you got mid-on and mid-off inside the 25-yard circle, and Stacey and King making a very excellent point there. New Zealand batters are not strong players to say they're like Bates or Devine who can be able to just hit the ball out of the ground, but you never know, because we saw Laura down the other day.
Yeah, and she did hit a 6, so let's just retract that a bit.
But it's cricket. Anything is possible. Anything can happen.
And the format, it's T20 cricket, so this is the time when shots are improvised.
Here is Maddie Green steering this down onto the offside. Aline coming across nicely. No runs. New Zealand in trouble. 14 for 3. What a game. It's game on. And Haley Matthews so far has led from the front. 3 wickets for 3 runs. Henry tucking those stumps. And really searching for the Maddie Green stumps. In fact, going for those toes, as you would say it. Stacey, and you will bowl a couple of those Yorkers in your time.
Yeah, I like the length that she's bowling, because Maddie Green is taller than Georgia Plymouth. So you don't want to get too full into her stride, which would be an easy hit down the ground.
Bang on target. Green respecting a good delivery. So the end of over number 5. It's game on here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. The overs are hustling through very quickly. New Zealand need 80 from 90. 14 for 3. Plymouth is green, and run will come in.
Thank you very much, Vunan. It's an interesting game. It's setting up nicely here for a wonderful finish, as we saw the first 2 games, and it's continuing here. Matthews, she's leaning from the front, as you said before, Stacey and King. It's 3 for 3. Again, causing lots of problems here for the batters.
Yeah, again, asking questions from these inexperienced batters. And that's what you want. You want your captain, you want Haley Matthews, with all her seniority. She's a globetrotter when it comes to T20 cricket. You need her to bring that experience here.
Yes, definitely. That experience she's bringing here again. This time down the track. Is this going to be another wicket? Over the top of that's Gajnabi down there at long on, and it goes for 6. So that's 6 runs to Plymouth.
Yeah, and I like this because it's fearless cricket. She has nothing to lose, Georgia Plymouth. Advances and takes on Shabika Gajnabi in that long off position. Long on position, sorry. Yeah,
definitely. And this is good cricket. 20 for 3. Yes, the required run. We jumped a bit there to 5.1, but as you rightly said, this is good fearless cricket here from Plymouth. Is she going to be the one to take the game away from the West Indies here? Again, Matthews, and that one inside edge onto the pads, it looks like. Let's see on the replay. Yeah, inside edge onto the pads. Lucky there.
Yeah, because there's a big gap between bat and pad that Haley Matthews is probably trying to get through to.
Yes, Matthews again. Simon appeal for LBW. I think very hopeful there was Haley Matthews. She seemed to be outside the off stump and a bit high as well.
Yeah, and initial movement from Plymouth, she moved across to the off a bit just to try and open up that leg side region.
Good pressure here on by the West Indies. A bit of adjustment to the field as There's the short fine leg, and also that short square leg by the umpire. This time she goes over the top. Taken, wonderful! Henry, is it? That's a wonderful catch. Again, Plymouth looking to go over the top. And Henry judging that one to perfection. Had to parry it up initially and then took it on the second while she was on the ground.
Yeah, and again, one of the players that will create and make things look so spectacular. Palmed it up, still going back, but dives forward, and a one-handed blinder from Chanel Henry. How athletic is that?
Yeah, that's exactly what is required. Plymouth is really trying to take this game away from them, but it needed something special, and we saw something special there from Henry taking that catch, and that's 4 wickets to Hayley Matthews now. Hayley Matthews in her 2 over 4 for 9. And the New Zealand 20 for 4. In some problems here, but in comes down. But we saw in previous matches, including that ODI series, where Green and Down put on some wonderful partnerships to see their team home. But they're going to need the two of them to really bat well here if they are to get over this line, the New Zealanders.
You know, scoreboard pressure now. Just can't have enough of this catch from Chanel Henry. Just the brilliance, the awareness from her as well.
Yeah, I like that, the awareness from her after she parried it up first and foremost to really dive forward and get that one. That's excellent from her. And yes, is it the spark that the West Indies team needs to go and win this one convincingly? And we Seth mentioned that confidence. Will this give them that confidence throughout to the rest of the series?
So far, they've picked up wickets regularly, and you've heard them much more chirpy now.
Definitely they will be. This time Green pushing this one into cover. That's the end of another successful over for Matthews. After 6 overs, the end of the power play, 20 for 4. A wonderful power play for the West Indies. As I welcome back Seth.
Well, thank you, Ronnie. I did not want to overwork Stacey and King, but for the good of the game, I would have loved to kept her on for the rest of the innings, because I think something interesting is emerging here. Hayley Matthews as the captain, the lead bowler, given her credentials, took out 4 players, the New Zealand top half. She did rattle them initially with the bat, though it was short-lived. And now it's up to the rest of the charge under her leadership to ensure that New Zealand would not get the remaining 74 runs. It's quite an interesting situation. Also, what I am looking at, Chanel Henry, her presence with the ball, her presence in the field, and now the most experienced pair may well be trying to find a path for victory for the West Indies when they would have been behind the 8 ball for the first half of the game.
Yeah, way behind the 8 ball. But those 4 wickets from Hayley Matthews have really pulled the game back in their favor. Still, it's very gettable here for New Zealanders, just requiring another 72 runs for victory. But those 4 wickets would have made things difficult for them. It would have put some pressure. And as I said, the scoreboard pressure too has a lot to do with it. But this pair here has to be the pair to take New Zealand home. They have been doing it, as I said before. They have been doing it in the ODIs. They have done it, I should say, in the ODIs. And they have continued to do it for the New Zealanders. This time a good delivery coming back into the right-handed down. It's squirted away into the onside for a single.
They have been doing it, but can they do it again? Circumstances differ. When you look at it, apart from scoreboard pressure, 23 for 4, it means that you are against the flow. I think what is going to be interesting for the West Indies, Hayley only has 1 over. Chanel would have completed her quota after this over, it would be how the younger bowlers, younger in terms of Ram Harak, in terms of Sherry and Fraser, how do they adopt or how do they step up? I think it's going to be an interesting feature of the game.
Yeah, definitely. As Henry continues this one again, guided behind point for an easy single. So we mentioned this patterns developing, and we see a similar pattern here where wickets up front and the middle order has to do something special to get the team over the line or to a decent total. So it's a similar pattern we see throughout this tournament, throughout the games. And wickets have been the order of the day. And this one right behind it there was down. And the end of a wonderful spell from Henry. 4 overs, none for 13. Yeah, she hasn't picked up those wickets that they would wanted, but she has stemmed the run flow, and that was very important there.
Yes, and she kept it, her economy rate, just 3.3. That is well below the required. I mean, you would have bowled during the power play and you would have kept the pressure on, because even though all the wickets would have fallen on the other end with Hayley Matthews having 4 for 9 from 3, it would have been good, accurate bowling, excellent movement, good pace, good variation from Chinel Matthew, along with that brilliant catch that would have made a difference.
Well, we see this is not a good sight here. Wow. We see Henry being helped off the field.
She's not quite off yet, but she will be going off by the physio. This is not good. It's not a good sight to see here. Henry have been very good for her team. Bowling a 4 was on the trot, 4 for 13. Well, none for 13, but that spectacular catch we saw from her previously. That is not a good sight for the West Indies. But it's Ram Harak. Do you think Matthews should have bowled her 4th over? It's a touch and go issue. If I were in her place, I would have bowled out. Added pressure. If I didn't get a wicket, at least it would have been a restrictive move for the batting team. But here you offer another option for them, perhaps to go at the younger bowler.
I totally agree with you. It's Ram Harak. This one is punched into the covers. They're going to get 2. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity here, but no, they get 2 easy runs. But I'll tend to agree with you there, Seth. I think Hayley Matthews should have bowled a 4 overs to continue putting that pressure on. And if she had picked up another wicket, one of these 2 batters here, it would have put them definitely in the driver's seat.
Yes.
It's Ram Harak to continue. This one worked into the onside. Lots of space there. They're going to look for 2. Not taking on the arm of Hayley Matthews there.
But also, on the other hand, in a captain's head, a captain always wants to have a reserve and pulling herself back as the reserve. But sometimes you may just want to go for that killer blow. And I think the game is nicely poised for that killer blow decision. Bowl it. They're not going to take the risk. They would have seen the only batter who opted to take the risk fell. And I thought it would have been a different approach, but nevertheless, she's the one in charge.
Definitely. Son is driven through covers. They're going to get an easy single. So it looks like they're going to just look to push the ball over, work the ball around. If the bad ball presents itself, they're gonna look to put it away. But singles here, 4 singles in an over is what they require. I think that's the motive operandi they're going to use here. Again, another single. So this is 5 runs off the over thus far.
Right. And the issue here, there are 2 issues. For the West Indies to win, they need to bowl out New Zealand. Secondly, after taking wickets, you got to build pressure. Build and sustain pressure. 1 over of less pressure can make a difference.
Correct. And that's why I think Matthews should have bowled herself out there.
And in fact, she was on the verge of she's still on the verge of her best figures in T20 cricket it would have been, well, it stands at 4 for 10 against Sri Lanka. It's 4 for 9 now. Let's see what happens thereafter.
Yes, Rambarat continues. She drives this one nicely through covers for an easy single. And so that brings an end to the over. I take it 6 runs off that over. That's a wonderful over for the New Zealanders. 30 for 4 after 8. 64 runs required from 72 deliveries.
It is warming up nicely to a good encounter, because whereas we said that it would have been nice for the West Indies to get over the 100, in terms of the equation, it is inching up close to a run per ball scenario. Once it gets there, especially in this situation with New Zealand chasing, it would give the West Indies a better opportunity. Afi Fletcher comes into the attack at this critical stage.
Yeah, this is a good move to bring in Fletcher. She's a wicket taker in this format. In any format of the game, she gives you wicket. And she bowls. This one is cut away, straight to the fielder. And they get through for a little misfield there. And they get through for a single. Yeah, she immediately raised her hand to apologize for that mistake. And that it caused them a single. But again, that is all that is required from the New Zealanders at this point in time set. So, it's Fletcher. Cut away. This time Salman makes no mistake in getting that one.
I've seen a little change. I know we have already gone through the power play. We have 4 fielders on the boundary. I would be forced to maintain the fielders inside the circle, because at this stage they would have to take the chance. Afi Fletcher is not going to give them freebies, so I would therefore have brought in my cover off the boundary, and perhaps even chance the long off fielder.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Put pressure, put added pressure on the fielders. Not allow them to get that easy single. Again, this one is cut away. Good piece of fielding there by Alain. Prevent any chance of a second. So good work in the field. The fielders are supporting the bowlers, and that's what you want. And you rightly said, bring those fielders inside the ring and put added pressure on the fielders. Not allow them to get that easy single. It's Fletcher. This one is driven again to that cover. And in the same place you just mentioned, Seth, where that fielder should come off the boundary into the circle. And I like that idea. If you're good enough, pierce the field, fine, take your 4. But I'm not giving you that easy single. It's Fletcher. This one is cut straight to the fielder, looking for a single. So there's 3 runs off that over. Good over for the West Indies.
Yes. Good over for the West Indies, and one that will, in fact, be telling, because in the context of Fletcher coming in, she gets into the act early. And I think that's important, that she starts in a good, confident position. The scorecard is a Haley Matthews show.
Yeah, Strippy Divine 3. Beats 2. Plymouth 12. A very aggressive 12. Amelia could not getting off the mark on 0. Green on 7 and down on 6.
33 for 4, the West Indies ahead. It was actually the West Indies would have been on 34 after 8 overs, so comfortable.
It's Ramharak. So it's pushed into the onside again for an easy single. So the singles are coming easy here for the New Zealanders, and I think Matthews has to do something about that. She has to bring in some fielders from somewhere, plug those gaps, not allow them to get that easy single. It's Ramharak again. Ramharak is bowling a nice tidy line on that off stump. Is it necessary to have that deep square leg?
No, I would agree with you that you don't need that. I could see the mid wicket on the boundary, but not that deep square leg fielder. You need to keep those gaps plugged.
Yes, definitely. This time is driven. A quick single there.
And New Zealand now, they are reverting to that approach of, trying to take a single off every delivery. They're not taking the chances at this stage. So keep those gaps plugged and let them go over the top.
Yeah, I totally agree. Force them to play that shot as we saw with Plymouth, and she got out. This time it's paddled onto the leg side. It's going to run away. Some good work here. Fraser, that's good work from Fraser. Looking for the third. It's not on. It's 2 more to the total. 38 for 4. That's a good shot from Green. A good release shot there from Green.
Yes, well calculated. She already picked up the turn, picked up the line well and paddling it. There was a deep backward of square on the boundary, so that would not have affected her in any way. And it was a safe shot. Now we see Hayley Matthews making some adjustment, has brought herself into a short fine leg position.
And this time worked into where Hayley Matthews was initially for an easy single.
This must just be a little cat and mouse game. Maddie Green saying, okay, you move from there, I'm going to show you. I can put it exactly where you were.
Yeah, I don't think much is needed to follow the ball and go into that field. I think where she was at mid-wicket was an excellent position. That's Ram Harak. This time again worked into that same area.
The truth is, one has to realize you can't be everywhere on the field, but I think the key positions, your mid-off, your mid-on to that off-spinner, they are critical, especially the mid-on. You're going with the turn, rolling the wrist around. At this moment, after 10 overs, it is 40 for 4. It would have been 45. West Indies would have been on 45 after 10. So quite an even contest here, as the players are going to have some refreshments. Stacey and King, I know, would like to say much, but needing 54 runs in 60 deliveries, it is now quite a tight contest. Quite a tight contest here. Matthew, the star of the show, Matthews, 30 to lead her team to 93 for 5. And then Matthews on the board, 4 for 9 from 3. New Zealand responding now, only 2 batters to have gotten double figures. Plymouth and Maddie Green, who is not out on 11. Good bowling on the part of New Zealand, but Stacey and King, who is just beside me at 40 for 4. It's anybody's game.
Yes, it is. And again, another low-scoring encounter that West Indies are making a game out of, which is good. It's a positive, but you just see that if they can score frequently and score in the amounts of 130 plus, that with the bowling lineup that they've had and this bowling performance, they can be competitors.
So at this stage, the West Indies would have been what, 45 for 3. New Zealand 40 for 4. Even Stevens?
Yeah, I think they need a couple more wickets, and I know you all were mentioning or discussing previously that they just need to be a bit more attacking. Force these New Zealand players to go over the top, force them to make errors, rather than just have them rotate the strike freely.
Bowling options, you at this moment, well, Henry is finished. We would have had a bit of Affy Fletcher, but what are the options moving from over number 10 to over number 15 in your view?
Well, she has some options in Affy Fletcher, who's been bowling. There's Aliyah Allen, but I think that Shakira Selman will really stand out because she takes pace off, and to be pace off deliveries and anything that has variation will work on this pitch. It has been rewarded so far. So
Affy Fletcher is about to resume for the West Indies. They are really holding their breath at this time. 54 runs required from 60 deliveries.
And I had a walk outside just not too long ago, and the supporters, not very many of them are here, but a nice group of supporters out here, and you've heard them being so boisterous in support of West Indies.
They have been, and good bit of fielding and wonderful return from, is it Kaishona Knight? Yes, off the cover boundary. But you mentioned that at the start of the innings. I was just entertained. I was just sitting, soaking up the sun and hearing all the instructions coming from the spectators here. Here is an opportunity for a catch, a brilliant catch. What a catch. Well, the umpires have asked them to stay, but it looked clean from here. The batter is standing her ground, but it was a dive from Selman. Let's look at it. Oh, it may have just bounced in front of the fielder. So,
but we have the privilege of having a TV review.
The umpires
the
don't.
Umpires.
Oh, wow. It looked as though she may have gotten a finger under that. Either way it goes, you really can't fault the umpire. So the umpires, they have decided to play in favor of the batter.
Yeah, but a good delivery then from Afi Fletcher, forcing them to play on that offside, forcing a shot from Laura down.
So Fletcher, usually up to her tricks. Very good wrist spinner there. Few around the region. This time, did that edge. That one almost drew her into a false sense of assurance. And at the last minute, the ball left her. Good bowling on the part of Fletcher.
Yeah, once she pulls that line, she's gotten good reward.
This one a bit wide, giving the batter room. They're coming back for the second. They should get it comfortably. The return comes in. So New Zealand just having a little freedom here in this, the 11th over. 4 runs already being scored from 5 deliveries.
Yeah, exactly what West Indies wouldn't want.
A better delivery. She was induced into a drive. The ball peeled off the outer half of the bat. No run on that occasion after 11 overs. New Zealand needing 94 for victory. They are 44 for 4. All 4s on the board.
Yeah, they'll have their discussions. While Hayley Matthews will possibly be thinking about who can get a breakthrough for her at this stage. Reminder, you mentioned she has 1 over still. They need to break this partnership.
Well, I see she has gone for Cherry and Fraser, but I personally think that she should have been the one at this moment. This game can break on 2 overs. 2 good hitters at the wicket. This game can break. Not that I am not saying that Fraser is not competent. Don't get me wrong. But I think especially with her credentials and with her form in this game, she needs to break the partnership. And, well, the team needs to break the partnership. And she's the person best positioned to do so.
And those credentials you mentioned, into her 3rd match, Cherry and Fraser in West Indies colours.
This one being dabbed away. Selman fields and there is no run. You noted very well the impact of spin in this game, and that's another factor. I would expect Chanel Henry would have bowled out, but I also believe that the spinners, well, it has been proven, and that is one of the other reasons that I think I would have gone with Hayley Matthews. Gliding once again, Selman, good bit of feeling. The return comes in, but she beats the return.
Yeah, she needed a direct hit, but from that angle, she did well to cover the ground, pick up, and still execute a good throw.
So also a good opportunity for Fraser to state her claim. One of the younger medium-fast bowlers in the West Indies team. Lauren Down, rather skilled, having the ability, Stacey, and just to allow the ball to be going towards the stump and steering it.
Yeah, and it's just too easy because, again, it's pace on, and I'd prefer pace on as a batter. It will just mean that I've got to open the face and use that pace. Maybe another tactic needed from Selman from Matthews, sorry.
Selman, one of the options. This one is cracked. Oh, lovely fielding on the bounce. Good return by Selman. Alertness on the part of the captain to ensure no additional run.
And thus far, Fraser has bowled that off-stump line, so maybe another option might be to pack that offside field. Matthews himself can jump across, and Kai Shona Knight, who is in that deep mid-wicket region, can come into the ring.
Interesting options. Once again, she steers it down. Opportunity for a run out. A direct hit would have helped the West Indies, but on that occasion, it was not.
Yeah, Selman has been really busy in that backward point region. At least 4 out of these deliveries have gone to that region, and she's had to field.
Yes, the right field in place. But the green down combination, they're trying to soak up the pressure here. Doing well. Last delivery of the over. First delivery on the body. And it gives an opportunity for a run. So down takes the run. Both batters are on 14, interestingly. They need now 46 runs from 48 deliveries. It is getting closer and closer.
And just another thing to think about as well is the fact that throughout both the ODI series and into this T20 series, New Zealand have opted to use spin. They've opted to give their spinners chances and bring them in whilst they rotate their medium pacers. West Indies, on the other hand, well, Chanel Henry is off the field. Shanita Grimmon is on the field as a substitute fielder. Just wonder if they lacked an opportunity to give her a chance in one of these matches to just add to that impetus of having more spin options.
Right, and that's a big point. You have to look at it. The question is whether or not New Zealand spotted. This one worked away on the offside. Once again, no run. But I'm wondering if it would have been a matter that New Zealand spotted a weakness in the West Indies batting, why they went all out spin. They have pace options. And as we mentioned, Bates, in her metamorphosis, decided to go the spin way. Good delivery by Afi Fletcher. That one was tantalizing. It was not pitch on stump. It was not wide, but at the same time inviting a drive and basically put down in a position in which she could have driven or she could have cut. And Fletcher is teasing her at the moment. This time she drives, but the captain is in the way.
Yeah, those are 2 good lengths, 2 good balls that have been bowled at good lengths, just almost like a 4th stump line, which is difficult because she will be in 2 minds, Lauren Down, if to play across the line into that vacant leg side area or to try to beat that offside field.
Fletcher once again in, driven by Down, but out towards the cover region. Interestingly, Stacey, and we have reached a point where the balls and the runs are almost equal. So 45 balls, in fact 44 balls, 45 runs. And this now is the critical path of the innings.
Indeed it is. They need dot balls. They need to build some pressure.
Afi Fletcher, captain has invested confidence in her. Well steered well, in fact it's Ali Allen in that point position fielding on that occasion.
Yeah, from a West Indies perspective, it will come down to how often can Afi Fletcher repeat that line and that length.
That's often a challenge for the wrist spinner. In fact, most leg break bowlers pulled away, but only a single. So a wonderful over. In fact, the 50 comes up for New Zealand after 13 overs. 50 of 13 overs. A good over on the part of Afi Fletcher. Just what? Conceding a run? West Indies, I think they are trying to tighten things up here. And let's see what I almost said Stacey, what Hayley Matthews does. I'm trying to put you out there to captain the West Indies team.
Well, the game it's fair right now because similarly when West Indies batted, their 50 came up in the 13th over. So you can almost say the game is
evenly
it can go
poised.
any way.
So, Haley Matthews, she has continued with her pace option in Fraser. Comes in Maddie Green, cuts this one nicely down to backward of point for 4. She reached for it. It was wide outside the off stump and she steered it nicely. Selman could not get close to that one. And this 4 has really broken the strings of strike rotation.
Yeah, I think if left alone, it might have been a wide as well. Cherry Ann Fraser bowling wide off that off stump line. But well played from Maddie Green. Partnership rushing to 34 or 43 balls.
Not as wide, but another one outside the off stump. Selman gets into the act this time. Selman trying to send a signal, too much width.
And again, if you're going to bowl that width, then you have the wrong field set. Bringing one of those fielders from the leg side into that offside region just to strengthen it a bit.
Yeah. Green on 20, down on 15. Critical partnership here. Good delivery. That's a Yorker length delivery. Angling in to the right-handed batter.
Yeah, good answer back, as we'd say in the Caribbean, from Cherry Ann Fraser.
What do you say to a young player? Chinel Henry's back on the field, so she's having a word. What do you say to the young pace bowler at this stage? Once again into the body. She's appealing. No, but the ball was heading down towards leg, so she has changed her line.
I think it's a bit of height as well may come into play. But she normally swings the ball. She can actually swing the ball into the right-handers and away from them as well. And we've only seen most of her delivery swung away. So this one just actually looked like as though it swung in.
And may have surprised down as well. Still gripping stuff here. 38 needed from 38. Steering this one once again. Selman coming around from backward point. A single. They're quite adept at steering the ball for the deliveries coming into them and also those on off stump. That is a feature that we have seen from the New Zealand batters.
Yeah, they back themselves to bat deep in their crease and just use the pace.
Oh, beaten by a beauty. And she was trying to steer that one. It was just outside the off stump, just missed the off stump, and a good comeback on the part of Cherry Ann Fraser.
Yeah, that's the line. And it died just before it reached the wicket keeper, but that's the line that she wants to try and bowl consistently.
So 57 for 4 from 14. Wow. Tight game here at the Sir Viv Richards Stadium. For those of you who are following in New Zealand and Australia, it is in fact a cool day here in Antigua. Clouds at the Sir Viv Richards Stadium, but at the same time you're getting some sunshine here, the place that is always bathed in sun. And now Affie Fletcher will start her final over. This one is pulled, but it does not get past the mid-wicket fielder, so just another single. I still think that I would want to be pulling one of those fielders from the offside into that short mid-wicket position. Fletcher outside the off stump, in the air, dropped, but good effort on the part of Alia Allen. Had to go to her left, her wrong hand, and at least knock down the ball. But it may have been in some person's mind a chance going a begging, but good effort.
I thought she was coming in a bit too high as well. Need to be in a low crouch position in that backward point region.
Specialist position. Driving out court. She gets it. Good way, Haley Matthews once again into the act, taking the catch. A deep extra cover. The West Indies striking. Down goes down for 16, and it is 58 for 5.
Yeah, an important wicket and an important partnership to break. That partnership of 38 or 50 balls between Dong and Green. A flighted delivery from Fletcher. And Dong picks out Hayley Matthews, who's had probably one of the best games in her careers of this year.
Yes. And
So
as captain,
and that's 4 catches and 4 wickets,
and
now a catch.
so she has had a hand in every dismissal. 4 wickets to her credit. 1 catch, the wicket being credited to Affie Fletcher. Top scoring for the West Indies. She has placed the team in a rather strong position, I would say, after breaking that partnership. With Down going for 16, Maddie Green would really have to try to take it to the end for a New Zealand victory here.
Yeah, Green has been out there. I think they just want to keep Haley Jensen on strike as much as possible and probably bring in an extra fielder from somewhere and create pressure. You know, the offside field, they've been brilliant.
Really good stuff. We have seen some efforts coming in. 1 catch put down, another which was close, given in favor of the batting team. Jensen getting off the mark immediately out towards deep cover. Perhaps I am too aggressive, but I would have looked at blocking that cover region instead of the sweeper on the boundary. Reinforce that offside field. But the captain and the bowler, they know best. Fletcher. This one is played to Captain Hayley Matthews. She cannot do anything wrong today.
No, she can't. I mean, she's got the momentum with her. I just hope that she can filter that through some of her players.
Affie Fletcher, her last ball of this spell, pulled out towards mid-wicket. Green gets a single, and she moves to 23. And New Zealand 60 for 5, 34 runs and needed for victory from 30 balls. Stacey and King is going to take a break. She must be saying we're working her too hard. But Ronnie is going to step in to ensure that we continue along the path of the flow. Ronnie, when you left here, it may have seemed as though the New Zealand team could have had an advantage, but I think at this stage it's the halfway stage of the innings in terms of the wickets lost. But I think the West Indies have taken a decisive position with 5 overs to go, 34 runs needed.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that. West Indies have got their heads in front this time around. Again, sneaking a single there. And they have done this well. Rotate the strike, get the singles, put away the bad ball. But it has been difficult for them to score freely on this track.
Yes, they have not been able to do that. Credit to the West Indian bowlers. They have put on a very good, an outstanding fielding performance. Hayley Matthews, she has led the charge. We see now, wow, it looks like Selman on the ground. She's such a critical part of this team, because I reckon that as we get into these closing overs that she would have played a critical part, and it's her bowling hand that she is actually favoring there. Earlier we saw that she went down, had a dive to stop, and then she turned and had a throw, and we're just trusting that everything will go well. Captain is signaling to the dressing room. The physio is there. New Zealand would have an opportunity to breathe, but as we look at it, 93 for 9 looked an on the par score, below par score, but it is now proving to be a competitive score. What's the matter?
Yeah, definitely. It has been proven to be a very competitive score with the New Zealanders at 61 for 5. It is getting a bit difficult for them. 33 more runs required for victory, but they have lost 5 wickets, 5 of their top order batters, which is very critical at this point. And we saw just while they were looking after Shakira Salman, we saw the captain looking over to signaling to Aline to tell her to warm up. So it
Well,
seems like Aline would be taking up the attack.
Well, Selman is going off, and that's really a tough one because she is the senior person, as Stacey was saying. She can do pace off, she can do pace on. That variety will be missing as she walks. So I am not going to be the one who would say who should bowl or who should not. But I think Stacey was making the point earlier, or we were making the point collectively, that the spinners have really been the dominant factor in this game, and I would prefer see investment in spin rather than Aline. We remember in that first T20, Aline was the one who went for 14 from her 2 overs. Nevertheless, here is Sherry and Fraser.
Well, she bowled, she also, that's a wide down the leg side from Cherry and Fraser. She also bowled the last over in the second T20, which New Zealand won with 1 ball to spare. So she hasn't been all that with the ball as was expected. But Hayley Matthews has 1 over. Ramharak has 2 more remaining. Again, an easy single for the New Zealanders. And Fletcher has bowled out of 4 overs, 1 for 12. So who would she turn to?
Well, you mentioned Ramharak has 2. You also have Griman is an option. You got to invest rather than take a risk.
It's a lovely shot into the onside. 1 bounce, 2 bounce into the fence for 4. A lovely shot there from Green. And is Green going to be the one to take this away from the West Indies here? Again on that leg stump line and picked up nicely over mid-wicket for 4. So that's 4 runs to Green. 4 runs to New Zealand total. 67 for 5 now. 27 from 27, Seth.
Yes, that's a big shot. That's a shot that could really break a straw here. It would be interesting to see how Fraser responds to this.
Yes, it's Fraser. This one is guided past the diving point fielder. And they're going to get an easy single. Looking for 2, but it's not on. It's a good piece of work from Ramharak there at that 2-man boundary.
Point has been pretty much a feast for the New Zealanders. Quite a lot of the runs have been scored in the backward point area. And that becomes critical. I think Aline is maybe one of the better fielders in the absence of Selman for that position. Green will be the key going forward.
Definitely, it's going to be Green who has to take this home for the New Zealanders. Worked away into the onside. It's going to be looking for 2. And they're going to come back. No, they're not. Just a single.
I looked at that shot played by Jensen, and that one was pitched on middle stump, and she literally played across the line with a horizontal bat. Had she missed, it could have been a certain LBW or a certain bowl down. Interesting ploy.
Well, she did get a single at the end of the day. And so far, 9 runs off the over. A very good over for the New Zealanders thus far. 1 ball still remaining. And guided past the keeper. It's going to run into the boundary for 4. So this is the expensive over that New Zealand were looking for. And at the end of 16 overs, it's 73 for 5 now. Look at it. Guided.
High stroke. Could have been an earlier move by the wicket keeper. She would have been a goner.
Yeah, definitely guided. A little finer than she wanted Green, but at the end of the day, she got that 4 runs. She moves on to 33 from 37. Jensen is there on 3. 21 now required from 24. And let's see, Hayley Matthews, she has to go to spin now. Because when we look at it, she has to go to pace. She's going to pace now because Ramharak was a bit expensive than she expected. Ramharak had 2 overs to 13.
Yes, but I would prefer going with spin in spite of that it was more expensive. Ramharak was already in rhythm, in motion. In my view, to be bringing on a fresh bowler at this time, especially given the context in which we have, put this matter regarding Aline's bowling. It could make or break. It could make or break.
Yeah, well said. We saw that the Pacers have been expensive. Apart from Henry, who bowled 4 overs for 13, the Pacers have been a bit expensive.
And we have seen New Zealand veering away from the pace. And 14 overs of spin at the back from after the power play. That did the trick. However, Alia Allen may deliver the goods. Hayley Matthews may come out as a genius. That's the game of cricket, but I really would have loved to see a spin option. I understand the challenge she may feel of bowling an off spinner from this end because she'll be bowling against the wind.
Yes, exactly. But it's Allen. This one is worked into the onside for an easy single. So that is all that is required. Just push the ball into the gaps and get a single. And Jensen is doing that perfectly.
Excellent, in an excellent manner. I think, though, Hayley Matthews would not want to rue the day of coming back too late. We were speaking earlier of her finishing. We were speaking earlier of her coming in because it would have given a different view to the batting team. Let's see how it pans out.
Yes, it's Allen. Let's pull away into the gap. 4 more. Short delivery from Allen. And Green was quickly onto the back foot and swiveling, pulling that one into the gap at square leg. And she picks up another boundary. She moves in on to 37 now from 38. The New Zealanders are 78 for 5. 16 more runs required.
They're definitely in front. That delivery would make a big difference in the scheme of things. Also the edge that went past the wicket keeper on the right for 4.
So it's Allen again, this time guided straight to that field at point. And you, as we're on point, you made the point earlier with respect to Hayley Matthews not bowling out. And we saw in the second T20, she did the same. She bowled 3 overs, and she didn't bowl out her overs. And in the last over, she gave it to Allen rather than bowl it herself. And it cost them the match. So would she save that over for the last?
Well,
will it be required?
But the last may not come. So when you start to get down, we're 15 runs needed from 20. 15 runs can be had in 1 over. So you may wait for the last, and you may never be required, I believe, in breaking down the door when you have all the strength.
Correct. Should have been doing that. This time is driven straight to that fielder at the cover boundary. And they get an easy single. So singles is taking them easily to victory.
Yes. No doubt they would have missed Selman. That's a critical thing, but you have to do it. But as you even mentioned regarding Fraser, I'm wondering if in Hayley's mind, while she's trying to win, at the same time she's trying to bring along and groom players for roles as we look at the bigger picture with the World Cup. Excellent stop by Aliin.
Yeah,
put in her boot.
Yeah, but it did kick her back to her. Let's hope that it didn't hit her anywhere to cause any damage. But that was an excellent stop. Had she not stopped that with her boot, may have gone all the way to the boundary for 4.
Would have. But Hayley Matthews will come back. I don't think she has an option now. She has sensed it. 4 for 9, her best figures to date. Just better than her 4 for 10 against Sri Lanka back in 2015. The only other bowler to have taken a wicket, Afi Fletcher, 1 for 12, an economy rate of 3. Both have really kept the West Indies in the hunt. Chinel Matthew did her job at the top. I'm going to, after this, I'm going to ask Stacey Ann to join you for the end of this innings. She may say we are working her too hard, but at the same time, that's the name of the game.
Yes, thank you very much, Seth. Yes, so it's Hayley Matthews. She's going to come in for her 4th and final over. Figures just fat 3 for 9. And as I welcome Stacey Ann King back to the mic, is this a good move here by the captain?
Yeah, it's about time. Yeah, I think with all the experience that she has, and she's picked up 4 wickets, probably didn't want to bowl herself out earlier, but there's not very much options. And she has been successful, so a good time to come back to pull things back again. 14 runs needed from 17 balls.
Yes, it's Matthews. And this time, looking for that single, looking to work that one into the onside, getting the inner half of the bat, but didn't go anywhere really for them to get a chance of a single. So a bit of pressure here. 2 dot ball thus far. 14 from 16.
Yeah, and a bit of matchup as well, because she would have played against Haley Jensen in the recently concluded Women's CPL and 60 competition.
Yes, definitely. So these players will know each other well. It's Matthews. Worked into the onside. She's going to get a single this time. Looking for 2. It's not there. Green is happy with the single because she has to be the one to take this her team over the finish line. If she's there, she has the majority of the strike. It's going to be game over for the New Zealanders.
And she's part of that partnership with Lauren Dong. 38 runs from 52 balls. So again, doing all the hard work, but making sure that you see it to the end.
Yeah, definitely. You put in the hard work, you have to make it count in the end. And she's certainly doing that now. It's Matthews. And worked again into the onside. There's going to be 2. Definitely they're going to look for 2. No, it's not. That's good work from, is it Knight? Yes. Shona Knights. That's good work for her coming off that boundary quickly to prevent any chance of 2 runs.
Yeah, that's a big boundary out there. But again, not risking anything because they know that it's just 12 runs needed. If they look at that scoreboard, there's no need to put themselves under pressure or try to pick up 2 runs when it's not necessary.
Yeah, and just a matter of seeing Matthews off as well. You know, once Matthews gone, that's it. You know, she'll have to either go back to the Pacers or bring in Ram Harak, who was a bit expensive. So it's going to be easier, better for them just to see you off here.
And I think that even though Ram Harak has been expensive, what she probably just needs to let Ram Harak know, she needs to pull that line a bit. She's been a bit too predictive with the lengths, and she's bowled a bit too full at times, making it too easy to score. But you want to use your spinners.
Yeah, definitely. And I come back to that word Seth mentioned, confidence. Give her that confidence. Give her the ball. This one is pulled away into the onside. They're going to get a single. So again, she just moved that fielder away from there. That's Ramarak herself. And they pushed it into the gap for a single. So at the end, is it the end of the over? Yes, at the end of 18, it's 83 for 5. Green is on 39 and Jensen is on 7, Stacey.
And a number of players gathering together to have some communications, just some discussion as to who to bowl. But when you pick a team and you have a number of specialist batters, this is the problem that you come down with. Selman got injured because I think that she would have been one to end things off. We haven't seen Shabika Gajnabi featured with the ball in any of these matches, either ODIs or T20s.
Well, it looks like Fraser.
She's been expensive, 3 for 24. And an economy rate of 8.00.
Well, Allen went for 7 of her first over, so not much of her options. But I agree with you, Stacey, and in terms of she should have tried Ramharak again. Give her that at least 1 over to see what she can do. You know, show that confidence in her as a bowler.
You don't have very much options otherwise, so you might as well just give her the opportunity and, you know, just let her work it out, because at the end of the day, experience is the greatest teacher. So give her that experience.
Yeah, excellent. I totally agree with that. But it's going to be Fraser. She's going to bowl from the Sir Curtly Ambrose end. She has bowled 3 overs for 24. There's this, just remember, just 11 runs required. And it's Jensen's going to be on strike. That's the key thing here for the West Indies. In Jensen being on strike, is she going to soak up a couple dot balls before she gets that single? Let's see. It's worked immediately into the onside. They look for one, get it quite easily. So she has done a job.
And my thing is, pace on is always going to be easier to score off of.
We saw that initially in the previous over from Haley Matthews, where it took her 3 deliveries before she could have gotten that single. So I think she should have really tried Harak from this end. It's 10 more required, so it's getting closer here for the New Zealanders. Pulled away into the gap, 4 runs. Short delivery there from Fraser. And Maddie Green again, just getting on that back foot and pulling that one square of the wicket for an easy boundary. We saw that same shot against Allen in the previous over.
Yeah, well executed from Maddie Green. Just using the pace again, just stood there and turned it into the leg side. And of course, with that pace, it runs away in the gap.
6 more required. A lot easier here for the New Zealanders, and that cover comes into the circle now, and she goes over the top. Is it going to be taken? No, just over the head of that field, and they're going to get 2 more. Excellent work there. And as soon as they brought the fielders inside the circle, she opted to go over, and that's excellent. That's smart batting. It takes on to 45. The total now 90 for 5.
It also shows that she's in control, Maddie Green. She's now moved on to 45 or 44. And she knows that they've closed in the field, and she opting to go over that inner ring.
Yes. And this one is hit straight down the ground. That'll be 4 more. Lovely shot from Green. Just taking a step or 2 down the track and driving that one past Gajnabi for a wonderful 4. And that's the end. And that's the end of the match here. The New Zealanders have won this comfortably by 5 wickets, 95 for 4 in the 19th over. Maddie Green stood out there on 49 from 45. Jensen on 8. Sherian Priester.
Yeah, she has been expensive, and there was no need to, maybe again, as we said, could have brought in the Karishma Ramharak, where, just to push this on till possibly the 20th over, continue making a game out of it. But from a West Indies perspective, they're bowling, they've been hot 1 minute, but then they've been cold. So an area that they have to work on, as well as putting more runs on the board. These have been really low scoring matches, but great innings from Maddie Green, 49 as you mentioned from 45, and good maturity shown.
Yeah, she had to be the one to bat throughout to take them to that victory, or take them across that line, and she did that very well. And she bided her time initially, getting herself set, but in the end, she exploded with a flurry of boundaries, and led her team to victory. So a wonderful victory for the New Zealanders. They now take a 2-1 series lead, and they will be back on Wednesday for that 4th match, when the West Indies will try to get themselves back in it to set up a finale here. But as you can see, the New Zealand batting, the West Indies batting, Haley Matthews at the top, 30. Allen, 1. She was bowled by Kerr for 1. Knight, she was bowled by Bates for 16. Williams, she was caught Bates bowl Carson for 1. Henry, caught Bates bowl Jonas for 13. Nation, she was caught and bowl Jonas for 1. Gajnabi, a wonderful innings from her coming down in the end there, hitting a couple boundaries, and a 6 as well. She was caught bowl Kerr for 19. Fraser, she was caught Kerr bowl Bates for 2. And Fletcher, she was caught Jensen bowl Carson for no score. Selman in the end remained not out on 4. Bowling for the New Zealanders, Jonas, she bowled 4 overs, 3 for 16, an excellent spell for her. Jensen bowled 2 overs, none for 18, a bit expensive. Jess Kerr, 2 overs, 1 for 5, and she didn't bowl again because they persisted with that spin. Divine, 1 over for 6, none for 6. Amelia Kerr, 4 overs, 1 for 28. Carson, she bowled 4 overs, 2 for 14. And Susie Bates, chipping in the end, 3 overs, 2 for 5. In the end, the West Indies could only manage 93 for 9.
Yeah, and this was New Zealand's response with the bat, losing Sophie Devine and Susie Bates in the earlies. But Georgia Plimmer, well, she had a nice little cameo, 12 off 12. Amelia Kerr didn't get off the mark by some brilliant bowling from Hayley Matthews. That was her 4th wicket. But Maddie Green, she stood out. She stood out amongst all these batters, scoring 49 from 45. And Hayley Jensen was with her to the end to see New Zealand not just win this match, but also to win, well, to take the series 2-1.
Yeah, definitely. So a wonderful series, nicely set up.
The bowling for West Indies, Hayley Matthews, as I mentioned, standing out with her 4 wickets for 12 runs with 18 dot balls. Afi Fletcher, the only other wicket taker, with 1 for 12 off her 4, but the other bowlers, they've just been a bit too expensive. Chanel Henry, well, she also started things off, didn't get any wickets, but 4 overs for 13 runs. I think that was a really good start, but none of the other bowlers really came to the party and assisted that Hayley Matthews and Afi Fletcher wickets and spell.
Yes, in the end, New Zealand, they got home total 94 for 5. You can see the summary. New Zealand won by 5 wickets, and they take a 2-1 lead in this 5-match series. Wonderful knock from, as you mentioned, Maddie Green to see her team over. And this is good for the New Zealanders in terms of they had struggled in the first few matches to see the game to the end. You know, just winning by with 1 ball to spare in the previous match. So this would be a good confidence for them. But looking at, in terms of the West Indies, Stacey and King, what are the positives they can take out of this match?
Well, they bowled pretty well. Hayley Matthews, her bowling spell, and again spin, because we saw that for New Zealand. Hayley Matthews' bowling was spot on. It was just what was needed. I think they need a number of other bowlers to really come to the party and bowl in partnerships. Hayley also stood out with her batting. She scored 30 of 28. Players are getting opportunities, because we mentioned a number of West Indies senior players not in this team or not featured in this team for whatever reasons. So an opportunity for some other players to put their hands up, and they really haven't done that. And to me, that is where they fall short. They need to score more runs. They need to score in excess of 130 and give their bowlers a chance and a target to defend.
Yeah, definitely, totally agree. And runs is needed, not just by the West Indies, but by the New Zealanders as well. The top order hasn't gotten the amount of runs that the both teams would look for. The bowling has been exceptional for both teams, but the batting had really let them down. But at the end of the day, they have something to work with, and it's something that they can look forward to in the future. All right, so that's it for us. For this match, the 3rd T20 International between New Zealand and West Indies. So the series nicely set up here, 2-1 in favor of the New Zealanders, as we wrap this one up and remind you of that 4th T20 on Wednesday at 10 a.m. So we will be back here on Wednesday at 10 a.m. to bring you coverage of that wonderful game and that match, where it's going to be do or die for the West Indies at that point in time. So on behalf of our commentary team, Stacey and King, Vernon Springer, Seth, myself, Ronnie Bikramras, and the technical team, we want to say thank you for joining us for this coverage. Join us for the 4th T20 on Wednesday. Thank you, have a good evening, and see you all then.